Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322 and welcome to episode 36 of the Choking Hazard podcast with my usual co-hosts, Sugar-Free Nos over there.
Oh, you woke me up. That intro took too long.
Jesus Christ, that was so loud.
Had a little mad.
And RDT down there. And
Gucci.
our guest tonight is a fellow YouTuber who's been around the GTA 5 scene for quite a while. It's GTAWiseGuy. Welcome.
Hello.
Hey.
Thank you for joining
Thanks for
us
having me.
on this pokey little show. So we were just talking about this in the pre-show, how I tend to always ask the same question when we have a new guest, and it's always the most difficult one to answer for anybody, really.
Yeah.
But how would you describe yourself to people who are in the chat who've never seen anything that you've done before, never seen a video, don't know who you are? How would you describe yourself?
Myself or just my channel in general?
Both. Let's do both.
Well, I started my channel for the sake of doing like driving tips and stuff like that on GTA because I was playing GTA. I was doing all these cool driving techniques and stuff like that, which I hadn't really seen many tips for those certain things that I was doing on YouTube, which is why I started my channel. So I kept doing tips and stuff like that, and that slowly turned into cinematics and more artistic stuff. And then I went to uni. Well, I was in uni when I started my channel, and then I decided to specialize in like 3D vehicle art and stuff like that, which is where some people might have seen the Tuners and Outlaws trailer, which is what that sort of sprouted from. So my honors project in uni was to create, well, the plan was to make 5 cars, but I didn't realize how difficult it was to mod cars into GTA and stuff. But that's where Tuners and Outlaws sprouted from anyway. I was making cars, and that's mainly what I do now on the channel. Is I spend most of my day modeling cars, I take Rockstar cars mostly, and then I transform them into what I think the community would like to see, or what they specifically request me to make. For example, now I'm doing the Vapid Ellie. I'm turning that into like a drift Mustang sort of thing, and that's mostly what I do now. I spend all day modeling, and even though I haven't posted for like 5 months, I'm still working on it like every day, and that's mostly what my content is. I do a lot of cinematics for those cars as well, and I just do general gameplay and stuff with me commentating over what I've done in terms of designing the cars, and stuff like that. I think that's pretty much the best way I can describe what I do.
Interesting.
But yeah.
So I've got it noted down to talk about the Tuners and Outlaws DLC, because that was a
What a
pretty
great segue.
Yeah,
What a
big.
great segue.
big thing that, you know, it seemed like that sort of, well, it just took off and blew up on your channel. But I mean, you had a fairly successful channel before that, that video. I can't remember which one came. Did the Need for Speed artistic trailer recreation that you did in GTA, did that come before that or after that?
Quite popular, but before that it was mainly the sorry about that. It was mainly the Paul Walker Fast and Furious tribute. I slowly trickled up to, I think it was like 25k subs, and that video went viral. I think I got I think it's on 5 million views now. I could be wrong, maybe 4 million.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah,
that was one of
Tuners
the
and Outlaws
videos
has 2.1 right now.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Both of those videos I made no money for. They used copyrighted tracks. But,
Oh, of course, yeah. That's typical.
Well, they wouldn't have been the same without the tracks, so.
Yeah, so it's interesting because for the Tuners and Outlaws DLC trailer, for those who don't know, was a fan-made trailer that GTAWiseGuy obviously made, and it seemed like it just spread like wildfire, and it seemed like everybody from that point on, when they saw that, every time Rockstar would post anything, it would always be like, give us Tuners and Outlaws DLC, or a lot of people thinking that it was a real DLC. And I was always curious to like how it came about, whether it just came about because you wanted to make a DLC thing. But it's interesting that, you know, it was part of your project at university.
Yeah. So I was doing games design, which was just like general art and design for games, like building levels, building like mini indie games and stuff like that. And for the last year, you got to do like an honors project. So what I decided to do was specialize in vehicle art, and I thought the best way I could do that would be to mod cars into GTA, so model them from scratch or whatever, which I did with the Maibatsu Revolution, which is an original, completely from scratch car built from the ground up, based on the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution.
Yeah.
I did set out to do a few more cars. I was going to do like a Mustang from scratch and stuff like that, but didn't realize how tough it was. But it took me about, I think it was like a full year to make the Maibatsu Revolution, learning how to model cars specifically for games, figuring out how the Rockstar game engine works, and basically how to import cars once I finished modeling them and stuff like that, and figuring out how cars work in games and stuff in terms of like all the little nitty gritty details in terms of topology. If I say anything that's like any terminology that you don't get, because I've been modeling for so long, I don't know what people do and don't know.
Yeah,
for example,
all good.
What's a car? That's what I wanna know.
What's a car?
like modeling topology is quite important. So it's like trying to find out where the player looks, what's the most important places to put detail on cars, if they're going to be high poly or low poly, making sure the shading on all those cars, depending on how you do the topology, it looks like good, damage deformation and stuff like that, and just start rigging it in terms of animation and stuff like that, how the doors open and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes into vehicle modeling that's quite difficult.
And one thing you might not necessarily see just from using, playing the game and using the cars. You don't realize how much back end work goes into it.
There is a lot of detail that goes into it. And the whole point of me doing that was to make something industry standard, which I do believe I kind of achieved, because the whole point was I'm going to put a trailer out and see if people think it's going to be, if they believe it's a real thing. And if they do, then I've achieved my goal of making an industry standard vehicle. Because my backup for, in case my YouTube doesn't work out, was to go into the games industry as a vehicle artist, preferably for Rockstar.
Yeah.
And that's why I set out to do, started modeling vehicles, and now it's
good luck.
the main thing I do on my channel now.
Over there. I don't. You seen the pre-patch Jester Classic, my friend?
I was very annoyed. And I made a lot of points about it, about the headlights. They had the normals on cars and games. It's so say you've got a face, so say you've got the exterior of the vehicle, it has a normal direction, so when you look at it, you'll see light reflect off it, and that's how you see that certain panel of the car, for example. But everything, the opposite side of it, you'll just see through it. So for example, if you go through a wall, you've seen wall glitches in games and stuff, you can see out but people can't see in. And that's some of the Rockstar messed up on the Jester Classic. The normals were the wrong way, the topology was bad and messed up, so the shading was screwed over. I think the lights were I made a point that the lights were really flat, they were just a texture. They buffed them up a bit, they made them 3D. And all the and I said the spoiler as well, there's no super spoiler or anything on it. Then he went and put a super spoiler on it. It was pretty interesting to see that all my criticisms of the car, they weren't sort of rectified. But yeah,
which is rare. That's very rare.
Yeah, the Jester Classic.
It was the first time that they didn't release a car that they had in that you could see that was ready to be released. They held it back for the next update, sort of thing. Which was
I was shocked that they didn't release it and then fixed it, in the next DLC.
And you added liveries to it as well, which is pretty interesting.
I mean, it wasn't. I mean, even as just someone who plays the game, you could see there's so many issues with that car. It must have been even worse from a standpoint of knowing how cars should be modeled and what they should do to see a car be put into the game like that.
I think it was either rushed or it's someone new doesn't really know.
Yeah.
It was just trying to get it out there quickly, or they weren't particularly good at modeling. They didn't check it over properly and check the normals and all that sort of stuff.
Were you ever contacted by Rockstar when it comes to the Tuners and Outlaws trailer? Like, ever did you have any recognition, anything, even just a tweet or something, or a like saying, "Oh, great DLC trailer" or something? Cease and desist, on the other side of it,
PIs coming to your door.
On one of their community streams, I was in the in the Twitch chat, and I was saying something about Tuners and Outlaws, and they said. They replied to me saying, "We hope you'll enjoy that tuna, something like those tuna wheels in Benny's sometime soon, dude." I was like, "What?" So like I made this whole video about like, "Oh, they're teasing this new tuners pack and all this stuff," and they've just not said anything since, and there's been no tuners pack or anything like that. So I think they were just trolling me. They acknowledged that.
They're such a mess. They're such a mess. We're gonna go down this road again. I feel like.
Now,
we're gonna put it off for as long as possible.
Tuners and Outlaws, so like, it just bring them in so much money to make these cool tuner cars that so many people want, which they definitely buy, and all this like all the modifications as well. I'm sure like the cars are what make Rockstar most of their money in terms of shark cards and stuff.
Well, that's the thing that I've kind of been realizing. The more that I've played the Project Homecoming server on 5M, and the amount of vehicles that are created over there by all the talented people who make them and mod them in and stuff like that. The sheer volume of vehicles and the quality of them and all the liveries and modifications and everything that they have on them, it makes you realize kind of how little content we get for regular GTA in comparison to that. And it does, it's amazing that they've decided to go down the route of all these militaristic vehicles instead of the car culture, which is GTA as a base. But what can you do? Let's not go down that road.
I think it's just like they know that the kids are going to want the big explosive flying vehicle things.
Yeah, probably. That's true.
Do sell, but I'm sure tuner vehicles would sell just as well.
Yeah.
And I know they've been bringing out a few since the Tuners and Outlaws trailer, like the Comet Retro, the LOD Retro, the Jester Classic, and stuff like that.
Yeah, they seem to do it
major in terms of like a tuners update.
Yeah, they seem to try to do things in their own way. Like it's enough to be able to say that they've taken on community feedback. Like the Cunning Stunts was essentially the racing update, but they didn't do it as a racing update. Yeah. They wanted to do it in their own way. But I mean, what has your history been with GTA as a whole? Like, did you play the games before GTA 5? Have you always enjoyed GTA, or has it always been car games and then GTA caught your attention? How's it been?
I've always played GTA, and I've always been pretty good at racing games. I used to smash GTA 4. Like, I used to be constantly on that. I had like my own little crew on GTA 4. I was pretty good at driving on GTA 4. And obviously that transferred over into GTA 5. Yeah, I've been playing GTA since I was like 6 years old, or whatever it is. But yeah, my history with it, like, especially with GTA 5, I was chuffed with all the stuff they brought in, like apartments, like all your personal vehicles and stuff like that. All the new driving mechanics that they had in it with like the double clutch and the perfect launch, which was like perfect for me. Because with my crew that I've got 6-star crew, like the whole theme of that is like urban car culture and street racing and stuff like that. So like drag race is the perfect launch, and the double clutch and stuff like that. There was a lot of skill in that. Drifting as well, that was like quite a niche thing, and it's hard to drift in GTA. There's no like real actual drifting support, even though they've got the drift tamper, which doesn't drift.
You don't need to tell us.
Really annoying. But yeah, there was a lot of features in GTA 5, which is one of the reasons I started my YouTube channel, like I said previously. I knew a lot of things about drifting and drag racing and all that sort of stuff, which is why I'm called GTAWiseGuy.
Yeah.
Because I know stuff about GTA and I could put tips out there. So, but now I've like sort of gone away from doing tips and stuff, mostly because I know how good you are at it.
Plus, I don't think there are any tips left, are there?
Like, yeah,
everything's
so the last hot tip we got was the single-player stop. You remember that, bruv?
Oh yeah, you go into single player and it immediately stops your car. You go back and you get quicker lap times from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think my channel was more like rough tips and not like specific. You're going to get these times in these cars, sort of thing. It was more, this is how you're going to do drag races, and this is how you can do drifting. Here's tips for this and that.
Yeah,
So,
information on how to, and telling people how to do various different things within the game using cars, not necessarily just straight out, flat out speed, lap time stuff.
Yeah. So like, I'll always recommend your channel if I'm talking about a new car or something. I'll say I'm not going to give specifics on what's the fastest or how fast it's going to go around the track, so I'll refer people to your channel that way. But I'll always test them out for like drifting and drag racing and stuff like that.
Isn't that refreshing? A nice YouTuber who actually does it properly, you know.
You're missing out on that YouTube money. You should have just taken his lap time stream and not told anybody you got it from him. Just you're obviously very new to the YouTube.
Which is your favorite GTA game? I have to ask that to everybody.
I think GTA 5, before all these stupid updates, was my favorite. But I loved the community and stuff in GTA 4, just how chilled out and like all that. I had a lot of fun playing GTA 4, probably more fun playing GTA 4, even though I know GTA 5 was a better game. Just like the ability to make your own game modes and stuff in GTA 4. Like you could turn blips off and stuff like that and play cops and robbers and all that sort of stuff. You don't have that freedom in GTA 5, even though there's more game modes and stuff. I just don't have the ability to make as many fun and exciting modes, I don't think.
Yeah. GTA 4 had GTA 4 Online had some great experience. We've even gone back to it for some racing every now and then, and it's always good fun. It's just still a good game.
I think in GTA 4 as well, you go up to someone, you beep your horn, you just go for a drive. In GTA 5, you go up to someone, beep your horn, they'll throw a sticky bomb at you.
Yeah.
It's not a sticky bomb anymore. It's a rocket launcher, and then they call in their broomstick, and then they
Yeah.
What is your take on all
anymore.
these newer vehicles like the Oppressor Mark II and the Deluxor, the flying bikes and rocket cars and flying cars? What's your feelings on all of that stuff?
It's a load of shite, really. It's just ruined it. Like I'll go into GTA Online, I'll get me Banshee, I'll just go for a drive or something, and I'll just blow up randomly, and then I'll see a flying bike just go past. It's just ruined it, really. But yeah, there's not much else to say than that. It's just ruined it, I think.
Yeah, I think we all agree on that.
Yeah.
That the increased militarization of GTA Online has brought.
Hey, Robin, welcome to the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to the Choking Hazard podcast. This is all we talk about.
Yeah.
I think it's very pay to win as well, because like you can grind for hours and hours, but if someone calls in their jet right next to them and starts strafing on me to try and kill me, I'm not going to take them out. Like they're going to avoid all my homing missiles. If I get a sniper out, I don't have explosive bullets because I haven't paid like 5 million for a bunker and then 3 million for all the upgrades that you need to get it.
Paywalls everywhere.
Yeah. And then I can't call in a Hydra or whatever it is to go and take him out. I've got to go to the Fort Zancudo base, which I'll probably die about 1 million times getting there. I'll kill him and then he'll just get his jet back straight away. So.
Yeah, the game's great now.
Balance.
Balanced, excellent game.
So you said that you love racing in GTA 4, and mostly you've been doing your car modeling for GTA 5, right?
Yeah.
Like, if the physics are clearly a lot different between the two games, would that translate to a different model type for GTA 4 rather than the GTA 5, accounting for the physics?
In terms of modeling them, it would be to do with the collisions on the car. So like each car has invisible collisions. It doesn't just use the collisions from how the car's modeled. It's very like low poly collision boxes, whereas say like a car's like the LG is like 120,000 tries, which is how many triangles the car's made up of.
Oh.
In terms of modeling. But the collision box would probably only be like 20 tries or something like that, so it's really, really low.
I'm guessing that's why sort of body panels can clip through the floors, or
Yeah.
there's some cars
Or
that
like
have
well,
Yeah,
some of
crash.
the
You
more
can crash them
recognized
where there's
stuff
nothing
is,
there and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the ferocious 112 on the 5M server is just a box around it. It's not perfectly like it's not like the Frankensteiner, I guess. Not the Frankensteiner's like some kind of like excellent modeling thing, but like it's just a box around the car. It doesn't actually clip on the rear wheels
Yeah.
or anything. So it's simple.
In terms of the difference between GTA 4 and GTA 5, I don't really know how the collision boundaries work in GTA 4. But I know when I've been modeling stuff, there's weights to the collision box itself, which is actually on the model, and there's also in the handling file, I think it's a handling file or the vehicle meta file or whatever it's called. There's weights to the collisions there as well, so you can choose how heavy the collision boxes are through the data, or you can do it physically when you're importing it through a program called Z Modeler, and that can affect how the car handles and stuff like that. But specifically how they affect the car, I'm not too sure. I've not really experimented with it much.
I'm sure I could get the answer to that question. I know that Thunder Smacker makes vehicles for GTA 4, and people have converted his vehicles to GTA 5. So,
Yeah.
If I had enough time to find out the answer to that question, I would.
Yeah, I just don't know the specifics on collisions and stuff. But I have seen collision boxes, and I know how they affect like the tire rubbing thing. That will be when the collision box is too low on the car, and the wheel collisions will run into, I think it's the center point of the wheel collision. When it goes through the collision box on the car, that's when you get that curb, like when you drive over the curb effect. When they run together.
The like stancing a car sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's. I mean, when you kind of think about it and go into it and delve deeper into it, you do realize how complex these things are, and I guess it's easy for us to complain about GTA and the direction it goes and all that kind of stuff, but I've always tried to maintain at least sort of some level of the vehicles themselves that are created, the work that's done from the artists, the modelers, the people who are actually working on the ground level of GTA Online. They're doing some great work to make these great vehicles. It's just that they're implemented in a way that we don't necessarily like. But there's still a lot of work that goes into everything that they do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when I know it's a different game, but from talking to the devs at Need for Speed, the process for making a car from scratch without any like mod pieces and stuff is 100 days for one car.
That's
and
crazy.
that's with like a full team working on it, sort of thing.
Wow.
So
yeah, it's insane. That's crazy.
Like if I'm doing a car from scratch, it took me like a year. But to be fair, it was my first one. And with the Ellie now, I've pretty much changed everything but like the exterior. So I've changed the engine bay, I've changed the interior, I've changed like I've put a wire body on it and stuff like that. I've changed the front bumper, and I've done loads of other mod pieces for it, but that's taken like 3 months altogether, like non-stop, like 9 to 5 working on it.
That's crazy.
So when you see something like, was it the Escort, or what? Some cars have tires that are like fucked up. Sorry for lack of a better word, but like they'll be backwards, they'll be facing the wrong way. Is that something that you can kind of feel the pain of the developer or the designer, be like, damn it, we missed that? Or is that something that you should pay attention to while you're making it?
That was the retinue, by the way.
Oh yeah, the retinue
was
yeah.
smaller than the other one.
Okay, yeah.
What, like one side was smaller than the other?
Wasn't it the left front wheel
yeah.
was like thinner? The tire was thinner than
It's
the one
always
on the
weird.
right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty easy thing to spot. I'd be surprised that they actually managed that, because when you're importing it, you have the wheel, and you only have one wheel on the car when you're modeling it, and it just sort of duplicates it around the car.
Oh, that's why the X80 Proto's rear wheels they have the tread facing the wrong way, because it's the same.
That's right. That's
wheel,
also what I was talking about.
Yeah, that's the problem as well. Like I've wanted to do like I think some cars that you can have a front wheel and it'll duplicate it to the other side on the front, and you can also have a separate back wheel which will duplicate it to the other side on the back. But generally, most cars only use one wheel. But what each wheel has a collision boundary as well, and the size of that wheel is determined by the collision width. So you can see like a cylindrical box, and you can just like type in how wide you want that to be. So I'm surprised that they didn't notice that. You generally just make it as wide as like where the rim comes out to on the wheel.
Yeah. It's amazing what they can let slip through sometimes.
So how did they?
They've obviously
so how
just
did they manage
rushed
to-
it. They've had a deadline. They've had to like rush it out, sort of thing.
Yeah. So the Need for Speed trailer recreation that you did in the Rockstar editor, it felt like that was like one of the earlier things to come out of the Rockstar editor that was like a full production quality thing. Where did that come from? Like, why did you decide to do that? Where did that whole idea
Well, I was
start?
just excited for Need for Speed, and I was starting to get pretty decent at the Rockstar editor. I was excited that Need for Speed was going back to an urban car culture, like nighttime underground scene sort of thing. So I just got a few mates together and said, yeah, let's try and recreate this. So obviously I wasn't doing it on PC single player at that point. I was just like getting guys to, I know I was doing it on PC, but I wasn't using mods sort of thing. And I even had one guy, like, while we were recording it, there was a guy like standing around the corner, and he was recording it himself while I was doing the driving, because I was the only one that could drive this certain bit to do like the drift or whatever.
Yeah.
And he had to send me the clip afterwards. But the reason I'd done that was just like, it was just like a passion project.
Yeah.
It didn't actually take that long. It took me, I think the most time was spent recording. It was like 8 hours recording and 6 hours editing sort of thing.
Yeah.
So videos like that don't take too long. It's the vehicle modeling and stuff that takes the
I
most
can
time.
imagine. Interesting. How was your feelings about the game when you eventually got it after all this excitement and stuff?
It was good to begin with, but there was just so much more potential with it, and I think they took a step backwards with Payback as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've played Payback
hopefully-
for a little while, and it was just like it's just the handling's not there. Like I don't know, it's just not enjoyable.
I don't mind the arcade handling. Like the people that want it to be realistic, I don't like that. Like it's an arcade game.
Well, there's
No,
a
I don't-
balance that you can find between
I don't think-
iRacing and Need for Speed.
Yeah, I don't think the handling
GTA.
model's good. Like very good. It's okay, but there's a lot that can be done to it. But I still think it should stay arcade, but the models should be improved for it. And I know the devs are listening to the community now, and they do a lot of stuff. Well, EA are quite good now with the whole game changes, like program that they've got going. Like they'll fly us out to the studio and they'll hear what we have to say and stuff. So hopefully they listen this time and make something good. But yeah, I was disappointed with Need for Speed 2015, but it was promising.
Yeah, it's always that seems like games in general these days. We just wish it was better, and it was always a big lot of hype, and then it just doesn't turn into
sounds
what
about
you
right.
expect. Oh, there's a picture of the MB Hammer just put a picture of the retinue in the chalk chat with its differently sized front tire width. It's very interesting how they could do
What
that.
about the picture of Dr. Phil with tattoos?
Oh, that's
Go share
weird.
that.
Because normally they'd that'll be the collision side, so it'll be the same wheel that's like model that's repeated on the other side, but the width of the collision, they're all separate, and
Yeah.
they would have just made that the wrong size.
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, the tread is the opposite way around on that as well. I think that must just be the case for all cars if they're using one
A
wheel,
lot of them.
and you just don't
Yeah,
see it
the
most
tread's
of the
always
time.
the wrong way because
Yeah.
it's not wait, trying to think about this properly. It's not mirrored, it's rotated 180 degrees.
Yeah,
So
and they've just you never see it, so they don't really think that there's any point
Yeah.
in modeling separate wheels for it, because most cars you're not going to see the tread on the tire, but some cars like the
Yeah.
X80 it's very visible. It's one of those things where as soon as you notice it, you can't not notice it.
Yeah, what they could do though is just have. I know it's just an extra step that they have to do, but it's have the tires separate from the wheel, so rotate the wheel and just mirror the tires. I think it
yeah.
would be a way that they could do that, but that's
smart.
whether they've got the time to
Well,
do
why?
it. So.
Yeah.
Why do that? That just cuts into their time making money. Like,
Making billions.
Oh, here we go again.
No. Bring it back down. Bring it back.
New topic.
it's a legitimate criticism though,
Yeah.
because if they are putting out these products that are technically faulty and aren't exactly what people want, and they may be rush jobs, they're obviously doing it to make more money, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because they're a company and they exist to make money, but still.
You kind of expect a better final product for the amount of profit that they make every year. So what's your sort of current status when it comes to YouTube or work or university or whatever you're doing now in life? Like,
Well, I do YouTube full time. You'd be shocked to believe. I haven't uploaded in I think it's like 3-4 months maybe.
6
Man,
months.
you must be getting a lot of
Well-
back pay from that ad.
But I went through it. Have you heard of YouTuber burnout?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I sort of like suffered from it
Mhm.
recently. Like after I spent like 2 months
5 months.
working on the Sentinel Custom. I don't know if you've seen the video or the car itself. Spent like 2 months working on that, doing a lot of like new stuff, like doing engine modifications and stuff. I was really proud of it. And after like a big break, sometimes my the YouTube algorithm favors like when I have big breaks, especially with like tuners and outlaws and some other big projects like the Jim Carner drifting one. They blew up after like a long break,
yeah,
and I thought that maybe that the YouTube algorithm has recognized my channel as being one of those big break channels, and they know that it's sort of like I'm working on a big project and it should be boosted, sort of thing.
yeah.
He's back,
Um,
like that kind of thing. You know?
Yeah, and then I was doing other car mod videos. I was doing them like every month, but they'd get like 150k views to 200k or something like that. So I was pretty chuffed about that. So I carried on working, spent a little longer on the Sentinel, and when I put that out, it only got like 30k views, and I was like, right, 2 months for 30k views isn't really that good. So that was when I set up my Patreon as well, for people to get insight into the development of the mods, to get like parts on the cars when it comes out as well. And when I thought that'll help me like financially be more stable and
Yeah.
put out content, even if the views don't get too high, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's always a good idea to, in this business of YouTube now, to diversify any like
Yeah.
income
that
streams.
algorithm has no interest in putting food on your table.
No.
It really doesn't.
The thing is, like, I have the ability to post every day, just doing like, I don't know, like, just playing GTA, customizing cars and doing races or whatever. And I wanted to prove to people that I could do that. So after I posted the Sentinel video, I'd done like a video every day for a week. And that was when like the Jester and stuff was coming out. And I was getting like tons of views on those videos. Like the Jester Classic one, I think, got 250k. The one after that got 120k. And then at the end of the week, I was just like really demotivated. I was like, I've spent 2 months doing what I love to make this car, just to be like not rewarded for it, and then spend very little time doing these short form videos,
Yeah.
which just get me tons of views, which I don't particularly enjoy making, which are easier to make. And then it just like really demotivated me, and I was just like, I was creatively burnt out. I was annoyed, really demotivated, and I spent like 2 months after that just like struggling to be able to get up in the morning and do work. And but now I've said to myself, right, I'm gonna get up at this time, I'm gonna do it for so and so hours, and I'm gonna make this work, sort of thing. So there has been a big delay between videos, but once the LE's out, hopefully I'll be able to get them more consistently coming out, and hopefully try and make it work with the algorithm rather than posting irregularly, sort of thing. And also have the Patreon to support me. I've got it on per project now, so it's not, the whole reason I made my Patreon was to make it sustainable, but because it's per project, it's kind of like iffy because I've not taken a payment yet until I post the Elliot. So it's going to be every time I post a project, I'll
Yeah.
take payment sort of thing. But
I mean,
I
that
need to
makes-
prove first that I can post at least monthly before I start taking monthly payment sort of thing.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's interesting, what you say, because I've had almost exactly the same experience over the last few weeks. Really,
Yeah.
very very recently. We talked about it in the last pod. Was it the last podcast? I'm pretty sure it was, right?
I watched most of
Probably.
the last podcast.
Yeah.
Whoa, you what? Whoa, slow
We
down.
have a guest that actually watched an episode.
Whoa.
We have a guest that watched an episode, everybody.
Best
This
guess.
is amazing.
It was very relatable though, and I only just recently seen video. I thought it was like just me, just like being burnt out, and I'm like, maybe I'm just, I don't know. It was just like weird. Like I know GTAWiseGuy posted a video on it because he recently found himself really burnt out, and it was there was some other YouTubers that had come out about it, and it's quite weird because it's quite a new thing for like people to be creatively burnt out. And
Yeah.
it's weird because you're doing what you love for a job, and especially with
Yeah.
what happened in terms of posting all the other videos and knowing I could make a lot more money doing a lot less work, it was kind of demotivating.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. I know
I
exactly.
mean,
what you mean.
and this is something that can be experienced from the very small scale to the very big scale.
Yeah.
I could play a video game that I love on stream, and 20 people hang out. I do the same race in GTA again and again and again, and 80, 100 views. Is very possible. So, but
That's with everything. Everything,
Yeah,
things
that's
you
true.
love. I for one, I like running. Like I like to go out and run. But there are weeks where I'm just like, I just don't feel like doing this. This is something that I don't want to get out of here and do. I don't want to go out and do everything.
Yeah.
And that's why they say everything in moderation. Anything that you do can be overdone. And
Yes.
it's a good thing that you've taken this time away from the community, not completely detached from the community, but like you're not putting that pressure on yourself that you have to put
Yeah.
content out just to satisfy people that are following you. And anybody that truly cares about what you're doing will totally understand the lapse in time. So
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, I noticed a lot of I thought like I was going to lose a lot of Patreon like members. Like a couple of people dropped out, but most of them have stayed and they're waiting out for this sort of project to be finished, sort of thing, which I'm very grateful for. It's just
Yeah.
annoying that I haven't been able to sort of post onto YouTube. Like I could do little videos, just like I said, just like building a car or something on GTA, but I just wouldn't enjoy doing that. So
That's it. It's always trying to find that balance between the things that are going to continue to make you successful and the things that you enjoy doing and the reason that you do it in the first place. And it is difficult to manage that, to balance that, and to balance everything when you the full-time YouTube or streaming or whatever it is that you do. It's just natural.
yeah,
RDT
especially,
doesn't have
like,
that
doing
problem.
what
He
you
just
love for a
goes to
job.
work and gets paid, gets the big dollar.
Doing what you love for a job is quite a weird thing to try and figure out, because at least I've not seen that many people like though I don't know how to word it properly, but like just playing games and like doing it for a living, it's weird trying to realize that it's your job, which you've got to do, and just doing it purely out of passion when you've got to pay the bills, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's that transition from doing it in your spare time and because you really enjoy it, and then it becomes a thing that you start supporting yourself with, and then it's
Well, you're
like
required to do it. You
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
You can do it whenever you want to. You are required to do this.
yeah,
You're not
And
doing
some
it because
you-
you want to do it,
Or
you're
you
doing it
starve to
because you
death and get evicted, and
yeah,
it's not good.
something that
Hopefully
you might
starve
want to
death
do.
before you get evicted, but
Like you try to do something that may take 10, 15 hours, and you spend a couple of days on it in the past or whatever, and just in your spare time, and then it comes to a point where you can't do that. Like you can't take that time to do something like that if it's not going to give you the payback for doing it. And it's again that balance is difficult to manage. But
Yeah,
it's good that you're sort of back on the upward trend to getting things sorted at least.
yeah. So I'm like I said, I've some of that I've worked on a lot, especially is self-discipline. Just getting up at regular times, going to bed at regular times, and making sure that you stick to a schedule, sort of thing. So, like I said,
Just
I've
go to
been,
like karate class. I hear that's pretty good.
I work 9 to 5, like
Wax
looking at
on,
the
wax
longer
off.
on it. But something that I do a lot when I was like working on YouTube non-stop after finishing uni was I was just working non-stop. Like I wouldn't give myself breaks, and that was
Yeah,
quite
it's never healthy.
hard to do as well. Yeah, not healthy.
Yeah. So last week we were talking about something in particular, and I was wondering if you had any experiences of this, namely getting your content, let's say, used by other people, but borrowed. Yeah, borrowed.
Yeah. It's annoying seeing tuners and outlaws people make a lot more money off it than I did when I'd spent like over a year doing it.
RDT's angry.
Can't take it.
Yeah, like fair enough they give exposure to it, and that's all great, and I want Rockstar to see it and stuff like that. But knowing that it was when I finished uni that I posted it, and I was like, right, I need to make a living doing this now. And seeing other people make tons of money off it was really annoying.
Yeah.
Especially as well when they make more content than me on it than out, like when it was something that I'd come up with, sort of thing. That was pretty annoying. But I think I mentioned to you, I think it was in your Twitter mention, like I replied to you on Twitter about, which was why he told me to come on the podcast, sort of thing. But there was another big YouTuber who now has a Lambo and is living the higher life, sort of thing, after stealing my content. That was from just that video, but it just says what those sort of people are like. Like, to be fair, it doesn't seem too bad now. He's doing all of his own original content, but it was typical gamer. I'd done like a video on like the double clutch and mid-drive speed boost, whatever you want to call it, in a Banshee, like on a specific runway at the airport, and it was like I'd structured it a certain way, saying this is how you do the perfect launch, and this is when you're supposed to hit so and so buttons and all this sort of stuff. And he made the video like exactly a month later, in the exact same place, in the exact same car, with the exact same structure that I had on my video. And I was too small at the time, like even if I called him out, no one was going to notice. But
Feels
it's just
bad.
annoying, like that's happened like quite a few times. And obviously there's people as well that just sort of steal your ideas or literally just re-blurt them out on their own channel, and they'll make tons of money from it and get tons of views.
It's funny, that's
it's like
It's interesting. Yours drives a Lamborghini. Bruff's drives a McLaren. I wonder when I get big and someone steals all my stuff, maybe he'll drive a Ferrari. Hopefully he'll get big enough off of me to drive a Ferrari.
You've actually made me remember. I'm pretty sure exactly the same thing happened to me from exactly the same person.
Oh, no surprise there.
Do you guys remember the perfect start, like the extra boost start that you could get in GTA races? I mean, you still can, but you hold hold the accelerator during the whole phase, and then you let it go, and it gives you a bit more of a boost at the start.
Yeah,
revs up the engine. I mean, I remember making a video about that, and then about a month later, I saw a video from, I'm pretty sure, exactly the same person that was basically doing exactly the same thing that I said. It's in exactly the same format, in the same way, and again, I was exactly the same as you, far too small at that point. You know, I was kind of happy that it had been spread, but I don't think there was any credit or anything like that. But there was
definitely no credit to me or
no.
anything like that.
But yeah, I'm sure it was the same person. I kind of want to try and find it now, but interesting thing, this whole YouTube business.
Yeah.
Interesting thing, yes, very interesting. That's exactly the word I would use for it. Very interesting.
I remember.
Have you ever seen that?
You can go ahead.
I've seen that little cartoon. Okay, we're all gonna talk. You go, wise guy. You say your thing. Say your piece.
Like, I remember I fell out with Mr. Boss for the win for a long time, and I did make up with him, and I was like, right, whatever. It's a necessary evil that I just have to put up with. But I remember one time I made like it was when like I can't remember what the car's called. It was the I think it's the car that's based off the McLaren P1,
The
T20.
T20.
the T20. And there was like a promotional picture by Rockstar. It's quite a little thing, but it's quite annoying. It shows you what these people are like. But the picture of the car that Rockstar put out, it was like the car was green or whatever, and I'd just gone in Photoshop, and I've made it purple to make it quite interesting, something different, what the car would look like in a different color. And I was using that as my thumbnail, and then he contacted me saying, "Can I use it?" And I was like, "No, I spent time making this. I'm not for you to make money off it," sort of thing.
And you told him no.
He went and found a guy to Photoshop the image, make the car purple, and then put that thumbnail on his video.
What? It's so stupid.
Well, if I can't use your purple Photoshop, I'll make my own purple Photoshop.
Oh my
It's like-
days.
It's so dumb.
We
But
will
just shows
have
what
some
people
follow up,
like
by the
it.
way. We do have a last episode follow up section of the podcast, and
Okay.
we can follow up on what happened after the events of last episode. But that is just insane. Like,
Yeah.
why couldn't he have made it a different color? Like, even if he's gonna go to the trouble to get it
orange.
made.
Really good in
What's
purple.
wrong with
I
orange?
know it's going to get
okay?
tons of views, so I'm just going to post it
Oh my
exactly the same.
That's just that. Yeah, you're right. It's a little thing, but it does just show what they're like. These bigger YouTubers, they're just so devoid of all creativity that they can't have a spare thought for themselves, and they just have to
Pretty
go
much.
with whatever's.
It's not that they're devoid of creativity. It's this that they have no motivation to use it. Why? Why? When I can make my car purple and get more views than you, and buy the thing in real life,
Yeah.
Why do I need creativity? Creativity's overrated.
Yeah. Fair
I'm
point.
on Mr. Boss for the win side.
And this will be Sugar Free Nossa's final episode of the Choking Hazard podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming on.
And then he'll start his own Choking Hazard podcast. So.
Yeah, the no morals
But-
version.
What I was trying to say was, like, have you ever seen that little cartoon image of the two guys, and the one guy comes up to him and goes, "Hey, look, I just made this," and he takes it, and then the guy walks away. He's just standing there for a second looking at it, and he goes, "I made this," and that's exactly what I feel like is going on here. It's they see something, they take it, and they're like, "I made this. This is mine now, so I'm just gonna use this."
I got a lot
It's
of
ridiculous.
messages. I think it was like 3 weeks ago, or something like that, something around there, a month ago. I just couldn't be bothered. It was saying that Mr. Boss for the win is he's made a video talking about tuners and outlaws, claiming that he come up with it, sort of thing. And I was just like, I just couldn't be bothered to even look it up because like it's probably true.
just like I'm going.
I
back
got
to
it's from tons of people as well, but like I didn't even bother to go on the video because like they're just gonna do it all the time, and like I'm not gonna get any exposure from it if I call him out and he puts my name in the description, sort of thing. I was like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, so
Can't be
stupid.
bothered with it anymore.
Yeah, you have to pick your battles sometimes.
Yeah.
So
What?
What's your favorite vehicle in GTA? There we go. Well, we didn't ask that question. It's on the list.
I thought I was trying to look for it. I knew that
Yeah,
I'd
you
written
wrote
something
it
else
down.
down, and
Yeah.
there it is. Yeah, okay, now I see it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh.
Sorry.
Anyway, what's your vehicle in GTA?
It'll have to be the Banshee.
The regular one or the 900R?
The 900R now, but yeah, just the Banshee in general. I've always used it. I've always.
What
enjoyed it.
what about your vehicles that you've made? What's your favorite?
I like the Revolution, but looking back on it, it's not as polished as it could be. It's not very good topologically and stuff like that. But probably I like the Shafter. I don't like the Shafter V12 with a wide body on it. And they had like 6 exhausts coming out of either side of the fenders. That roll
Only
back
6? You couldn't have had 8 or 12?
But also I done like I turned the Ruiner into like a 240 SX S13 style car. Spent a lot of time on that, quite like that. But probably the LE now is the one that I like the most. I've done tons of interior stuff for it. Made my own interior from scratch, sort of thing. It's got tons of engine customization to it, so I'm quite excited to release it. It's probably the best one that I've done so far. So yeah.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
I'll put a
Subscribe.
message in the. I'll post it in the choke chat. One sec.
Oh, interesting. And do you think, like, do you see any potential for this maybe to evolve into a career in actual car modeling? Is that something you'd be interested in if that was an opportunity that came up?
Well, my backup plan, in case YouTube doesn't work out, whatever, is to go into vehicle modeling for Rockstar Games. But one of the things that I put into my Patreon as well is saying, like, the reason that I'm doing the Patreon, etc., is because I don't want to work for Rockstar, because I can work on my own terms. I can build what I want, sort of thing. Because they could just ask me to model a plane or a boat or some crappy car that I don't want to do. Whereas working for myself now, I can just build the stuff that the community wants to see specifically, and the stuff that I want to make as well. So
You're the
Speaking
people's
of the-
freelancer.
Speaking
the
of the
end goal-
community, are you like in, you know, do you check out other people's vehicle mods on GTA 5 mods often?
not a lot, but I'm in the Vanilla Works Discord. There's some
Yeah.
very
Look at
talented guys in there.
They are very talented. We
Props to
work
them.
with them. We work with them a lot on the 5M server.
Yeah,
But I,
a few of them
I'm in
don't
charge
like
of it.
me because of the fact that I monetize what I do. Well, fair enough, whatever. Some very talented guys in there. A few of them helped me out quite a bit. Guy called Bob322. He's helped me.
Yes, the
but-
master of adding doors and removing doors.
Yeah, he helped me out a lot when
You
I was-
need a door gun? I got your man, Bob332.
He helped me out when I was like writing the code and stuff for making add-on vehicles and stuff like that. And they come up with a lot of stuff in there. So
Yeah, there's a lot of great guys over there.
Good
And a lot
quality
of
as well.
great creators. It's
But,
there's some artists.
generally, like, sometimes those guys will say if I've got an idea for a car that I want to do. Say I want to do a wide body, I don't know, Ferrari GT. They'll say, "Oh, this guy's already done it, so you can't do it." They don't say so you can't do it. It's like sort of insinuating that I shouldn't be able to do that because someone's already made it. Whereas, like, I'd like to give it a shot and see what I can do with it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. You know, like, you know, you could get your own shot, because you've certainly got your own style for making vehicles and liveries that I would say that Vanilla Works does not. So
Yeah.
So you're trying to say that they kind of call dibs on ideas?
Sometimes,
Really?
yeah. But a lot of them are quite accepting about it. Like, for example, trying to think. Like I was gonna. One of the goals on my Patreon was to make a Supra from scratch, but they obviously already done that. They brought the Jester out, so I've changed that now to a 350Z. Hopefully they don't bring that out while I'm modeling. But yeah, I was gonna make that, and they were saying like, "Oh, this guy's already done it." And it was a really good model. I think they called it the Sapphire. And the guy who made it was really talented, but I was like, I still want to give it a shot. And there was the Flash GT as well. I wanted to make that stock, and the same guy he wasn't the one calling me out, sort of thing, but he was also making a stock version of the Flash, and I was going to do it anyway, because I wanted to give it a shot myself, but he made a pretty good version of it, and I was like, well, I'm not going to do it now, because he's done a good job of it. I could do it, but I wouldn't let it stop me, sort of thing. But I was still going to model the Super anyway. But Rockstar brought it out. But some of them will call me out and say you can't model this because so and so's already done it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you want to model a similar car, you both are up on GTA 5 mods. You get to choose which one. You
Yeah,
use.
that's the thing. It's just more variety to choose from.
Yeah.
But some people just get salty about it. But it is what it is.
It's been
Since we're-
very, very, very intriguing to hear about this side of things and the whole things going on, you know, when it comes to the specifics of modeling, all this kind of stuff. It seems like so much effort goes into all
Well, if
this.
there's anything specifically that you want to know, just go ahead and ask. But
Well, we were talking about Vanilla Works. Can I ask you about LOD models for the memes? Because if I don't, if I don't, they'll be upset with me. Can I ask?
That's a big point on my cars. So LODs, for anyone that doesn't know,
Yeah, tell everyone what they are.
levels of detail on cars or any objects in GTA or any game. So when you get further away from a car, it'll reduce the detail on the car. And it'll reduce, like, obviously for better performance and stuff like that on your game. So what I do a lot of the time, because I'll take a car from GTA, when you model stuff, you model it in quads, and when you pull it from the game, it's already been compressed into triangles, which makes them hard to edit and stuff like that. So what you've either got to do is quadrify it, which there's some tools for doing that automatically, but it'll get all the wrong lines and stuff. So you've got to go in and correct it all yourself, which can take a long time. So what I do is, and when you're making LODs, you've got to be able to remove certain elements of detail, which is really hard when it's in tries. You've got to like select edges individually rather than selecting whole lines, and it's just really difficult and time consuming to do. So what I do with my cars is I just model the highest level of detail, and that'll just be the one that I import. So obviously it's bad for performance in the game when, say, if you're really far away from the car, it's still got the highest level of detail, so it's not going to be good for performance on your game. But the whole purpose of my mods isn't for performance, it's just more so for people to check them out and say, like, yeah, Rockstar could do this, maybe forward this over to Rockstar. It's a possibility that you could see this car in game. I've modeled them into I do put a lot of detail into them and make sure that they function at the highest LOD in game, but I don't make all the other LODs because it is time consuming, and the whole purpose of them is to say this is what it could look like. It's not to get it out there for people to have like the best performance of the game when they put it in, sort of thing. Now I know that some people would love that, and they would like, say if it was all my cars are in a 5M server, that would be pretty bad because they're all the highest.
That is, and many people have asked us, about your cars on our 5M server, and there you go. There's everybody's answer.
You won't be able to put them in because it would be bad.
Your cars are for a different purpose. It's
more for the artistic visuals. This is what it would look like.
Yeah.
And I want to try and get out as much as I can, and it already takes enough time for me to produce what I do. Even though I do put a lot of detail into specifics and little nooks and crannies on the cars, just making those extra levels of detail takes a lot longer if I'm going to do them properly. I did do it for the Sentinel, the last car that I've done, and it did take a while, which is why I don't. If I was going to do a car from scratch and I had full control of the model, it's not triangulated like pulling it from GTA, I would be able to work with it, reduce the poly count and stuff, and push it in without too much trouble. But because I pull the cars from the game, it is quite difficult. And I know a lot of the Vanilla Works guys, they don't. I'm not trying to discredit their work, but they don't do a full job of it. It does work performance-wise, but I know what a lot of them do is they take the car, they have the highest level of detail version. They'll have the second, there's five or six levels, I think. And the next level will just be the exact copy of the car. And then the next 4 levels will be the original version of the car without all the stuff that they've done to it. So you won't really see all their stuff on it if it gets a bit further away. It's just the original stock version of the car, which is a shortcut way to get around it and keep performance there, but it's not how Rockstar would do it, for example. And I mean,
and that's not the way all of their vehicles are done. For the record, not all of them, but a lot of the ones that they are, I think they've got different.
I probably could do that, just have like the original version of the car, but it's just I'm a bit OCD when it comes to having it.
Well, with Vanilla Works, I think from what I've observed, at least, there's kind of like different levels of project, like status. Like you have your fully done vehicles with full LOD models, and then you've got kind of the we're working on it. It's it's almost done, and then you've got the new things which may not have LOD models.
Yeah.
So there's a full helping of work statuses with them.
So I have a question about that then. So, the highest level of detail, your vehicles obviously have that. They're just the top level.
Yeah.
I'm assuming if you put them as a mod into the game and you drive them around yourself, that's not really going to be affecting performance because it would already be at that highest level of detail.
Yeah, I'm always going to see at that highest level.
So it's only when, like you say, you had 29 other people and they were a little bit distance apart, but then they've all got the highest level of detail. That's when it starts to affect things.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be quite bad.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know anything about that. Interesting, very interesting.
So, well, yeah, like it's just mostly for the purpose of showing them off, and the main part of it is obviously showing it off in my videos, sort of thing. People can still download them and try them out, but I don't specifically recommend having all the cars on screen at once, sort of thing, because it won't be good for performance.
Yeah, interesting.
And I don't really expect people to, unless I was specifically making like a 5M server, I would have to go through and make all the LODs for the cars and stuff.
Cool. But what did you say that you made all the LODs for the Sentinel?
The Sentinel Classic.
Okay. So you do have one car that has all the LODs.
There is one car with all the LODs.
Cool.
But some of it is a bit messy because I've just there's like a tool in 3ds Max which is what I use to model. So all the triangulated bits that are pulled from the game, I had to like just use a tool to like break it all down. It's a bit messy, but all the stuff that I modeled from scratch, I could like make to the lower LODs, sort of thing.
Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. So should we start moving it on to our regular segments at this point?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's a nice little over an hour of a lot of great information.
Yeah, this has been kind of on the level of the Joshua Moves podcast where we just
I was just thinking that, so I guarantee you nobody's watched this one.
It's always the one where it's the most interesting, the most informative, and we learn the most stuff. Nobody watches.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, go back and watch the Joshua Moves one.
It could like send you to sleep, so it's just fair enough. But
so we'll open up the phone bank for anyone who wants to ask any questions for any of us, GTAWiseGuy specifically, any of us specifically, or all of us together. Get in the phone bank on Discord, and we'll take your questions later on. But before we do all that, we got some gaming news to talk about first of all. Always got to do a bit of gaming news in the segments this time, and.
Are we talking about your week first, or are we?
Nah, we don't need to do that. We don't. Everybody knows. I'm on stream. This is stream 11 out of in 8 days, and I've been streaming for a week, and it's been fun. And I played Red Dead Redemption, and that's been interesting. And I'll finish it at some point.
Yeah, we'll talk about Red Dead next podcast.
Yeah,
we'll be closer to. It'll be like almost the start of October too for the next one. Yeah, it'll be the 29th.
Yeah.
So that'll be a good time to have Red Dead as a topic. So
we'll see if I've finished it by then as well.
I'm sure you will have.
So gaming news, loot boxes have been removed recently from a lot of games in Belgium. I can't remember whether we've talked about that specific part of it because Belgium decided that loot boxes were gambling. But EA,
Belgium.
EA, the wonderful company that is EA, have basically decided that the Belgium government don't know their own laws. They're wrong, and then they're not gonna remove loot boxes from their games, and they're gonna continue with it and take whatever comes. They're probably gonna have to
make the gamers try to beg their government that they want.
There's quite a few. Wasn't it? Which one is it? 2K. 2K have been doing that, begging people in Belgium, their players, put out a message saying, if you want them back, go to your local government, tell them to relax the laws on loot boxes, and it's like, yeah, okay, we're gonna just go to our government for you to rob us blind. That's fine. That's fine.
Bruh,
Yeah.
really? They
Yeah, they really put out a statement like that. Another company did it as well, but I can't remember. Was it Activision Blizzard about the Overwatch loot boxes as well? Maybe they took them out of Overwatch as
Probably.
well. So basically, they haven't done any. They haven't,
Dear my local senator, I really want this skin for what's High Noon guy's name? I forget. I don't. It's been so long. Come on, it's
Overwatch
Yeah.
boy.
I don't play.
Does anybody
Jack
know?
Marston. John
No,
Marston.
no, stop. This will drive me crazy. What's High Noon boy's
We're
name?
gonna
I
have to wait for
forget.
someone in the chat to.
Yeah, chat, help me.
Reaper.
No, it's not Reaper. Reaper's the one with the shotguns. No,
Clint Eastwood.
McCree. There we go. Thank you. So yeah, I want this new skin for McCree. That joke would have been so much better if I just knew that. But,
Yeah, you're taking too long over it now.
Aren't Belgium
Kid Rock.
there's a criminal investigation into EA's loot boxes, isn't there?
There will be now because they've decided not to take them out. Yeah. Well,
We'll
it's
just
because,
take the fines or
it's
whatever.
because they make so much money from FIFA.
Ultimate Team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ultimate Team is insane. They make so much money from it, so they want to try and push back against it. But I saw a headline today that Finland is starting to investigate loot boxes as gambling now as well. Other countries have gotten on that bandwagon. It's only a matter of time before everybody does it. And I don't.
Hawaii, I think.
Say again.
There's Hawaii in America.
Oh yeah, they've
They're-
had
Ew.
someone
They're
be.
the forefront
Yeah.
as well, I think.
It's
I guess EA's lawyers feel like they have this defense to say that it's not gambling, and
I guess that's
since
what they're gonna try to do. But the worst thing would, I mean, the Belgian Gaming Commission guy, the main guy, he said that even if the EA lawyers, do the job that they need, and a judge determines that it's not actually gambling and they can keep the loot boxes, they are going to then look at implementing laws to make them illegal. So they really are going hardcore against these loot boxes, and I'm happy about it. I wish I lived in Belgium. I have mad respect for that. But then they're not changing the games at any point. Like they're taking out the loot boxes of all these games, and they're being exposed for being ridiculous, because all you're left with when you take out the loot boxes is the grind. You can earn them, you can earn stuff in game, but because they want you, they're not going to put them in if they don't want you to spend the money, and they're going to design the game to make you want to spend the money. So when you take the loot boxes away, it was like what we saw with Shadow of War when they took the loot boxes away. Was it Shadow of War or Shadow of Mordor? Which one's the first one?
Shadow of War is the newest one.
Yeah, Shadow of War. They took the loot boxes and all microtransactions out of that game, and they had to completely rebalance the ending of the game to make it less grindy, because there's no loot boxes anymore to make it go quicker, or not microtransactions, I should say. So
And
it's
by
just,
that time, it was too late to salvage the opinion of the game at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah. So it's an interesting time to see how it goes, and whether EA will be successful in Belgium, and laws. It feels like the law it hasn't caught up with anything. It's not. It might not be, say, technically gambling, but it's glorified gambling, and if it doesn't specifically, fit in with the definition of a gambling law, then the gambling law needs to be updated.
Yeah, I saw an article on a guy who spent I think he done a Freedom of Information request, that new GDPR that the EU has,
I remember that.
and he wanted to see how much he'd spent on Ultimate Team and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it turns out he'd spent over 16 grand, I think it was, in space of 5 years.
Yeah.
Fair enough, this guy was well off, but what about some kid who gets their mum's credit card or something?
Yeah. He didn't
It's just
realize how much he'd spent until he actually got the info, and it was a challenge for to get EA to give him the information for it, wasn't it?
And they didn't even give him all the information that he requested. I think he'd asked to see what sort of players he got for it or something, but he refused to say.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't give him all the
specifically what
details,
he got out of the packs
of what
and
he
stuff,
actually
yeah.
got. Yeah. It's just
I think it's one of the countries that is trying to ban it is also saying that if you have loot boxes, you need to say what the probability is of what you're going to get out of them.
Yeah.
I think CS:GO has to do that in some countries.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to know that, like, without a law. I mean, if any, I want that information displayed. It's some good information to have. I mean, it'd be better if they were gone, but
Very rare. That's all it says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just gotta
What is the
comment.
actual
This
percentage
AJ
chance?
McCarron is purple.
It'll be interesting to
wow.
see, like, in
Predator,
terms of
go
sorry,
on. No, you go.
GTA's monetization for, say, when GTA 6 comes around, how Rockstar are going to approach it.
Man, we
Because
get to find out in October where they're going with monetization. You better
that's
watch
true.
out. We're gonna have some buffalo bucks or something. It's gonna be good.
We know how ridiculous, like,
Crocodile Cash.
we know how ridiculous, like, GTA 5 is now. But, like, that's slowly trickled over time. Like, they've put prices up slowly. So, like, there's not been a whole, like, shitstorm about it like Battlefront had. Like, are they going to release Red Dead or GTA 6 with, like, super high prices and paywalls and stuff? Or are they just going to try and trickle it up again? 'Cause
Yeah,
I think
that's
if
what
they
they'll
release
do,
the
yeah.
game with super high, like, if everything's really expensive, there'll probably be a shitstorm like the Battlefront 2 fiasco with GTA probably, and Rockstar will take a big hit.
That's it. Rockstar have been very smart about it. They started off small. They gave free DLC initially with the Beach Bum pack, and then it gradually got more and more expensive. And yeah, now it is,
Well, is it
what it is.
Was that the plan the whole time, or was it because they realized how much money they were making and they've just put the
I
money
generally
up?
don't
Like,
know.
how much? Pardon?
I genuinely don't know anymore
Yeah.
whether they planned that out in advance. It could have
I
done.
think they've realized how much they can make from it and how much people are willing to spend,
Yeah.
and that's why they've put the prices up. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with the next title.
Two things that I wanted to mention from the chat. Someone said you didn't really need the loot boxes to complete Shadow of War. I mean, that is always the rationalization.
And
that
you
people
don't
have.
you don't need shark cards to have fun in GTA Online.
Yeah,
but
it's not about whether you need it. It's about whether the grind is too far gone the other way, so that it becomes a grind for the sake of selling loot boxes rather than part of game design. If you didn't have microtransactions, would you still design the game in exactly the same way as what you've done? In most cases is no, because they specifically want you to buy the microtransactions, so they design the game to make you want to buy them. And something else that Predator has just said in the chat, he gifted 100 subs earlier this week as part of the stream week. It was craziness. Thank you again, Predator. But he said, I spent £2,500 in 2012 on FIFA Ultimate Tournament, and I'm a grown-up. It shows, and I think MB Hammers talked about this before, how he sort of spent money on the loot boxes or whatever they are in Rocket League, and it is a thing that you can, if you're necessarily that way inclined, or you're just very into the game, you can spend all this money, and like the guy who you were talking about, £16,000 or whatever it was, and you don't realize it until later on. It's crazy that they're able to get away with that kind of stuff, but hopefully not for much longer.
Epic's approach to monetization is probably the way to go. I don't think it's particularly malicious, because it's all cosmetics, isn't it? And you don't have to do loot boxes to get those cosmetics. You know how
just
much
buy
you're
the
gonna pay
cosmetics,
upfront.
yeah.
And it's only going to be the skins that you get. You get no advantage in game like you do on GTA with flying bikes with explosives.
Yeah,
True.
that's
You
it.
know exactly what you're buying with Fortnite.
Even though some of them might be expensive, it's not ridiculous. And you know,
I mean, why do I want a skin in a game where I'm gonna land and die in 4 seconds anyway? I mean, I only get to see the skin when I'm falling through the air. It's motion blur. It doesn't really matter. So.
well, that's the point though. Like, it's all down to you. You're not diminishing your experience really if you're not buying the skins.
Yeah, unless you're someone who has cosmetics mean everything to them, then but that's more of a personal case than as a general case.
Yeah.
So speaking of Epic and Rocket League together, I've been testing out Rocket League's Rocket Pass this week, these past few weeks since it launched. Oh boy, that's rough. It's people
I don't-
people in the community are hugely appreciative of it, and whatnot. There are a couple of issues that I found though. First of all, if you don't know how it works, basically you pay to enter this rocket pass. It's £7.95 in the UK to enter into this rocket pass, and it allows you to gain new cosmetic items. For each new XP level you go up, you get a new cosmetic item for your car or whatever, which is fine. There are 70 levels to the rocket pass, so 70 different. If you went up 70 different XP levels in the game, then you would get all of the items. Each level.
I thought it went past that though too. I thought
it does go past that, but those are the flat rate items.
Okay.
So each XP level is 20,000 XP, and you gain on average. There are little boosts and whatnot that you can get throughout the rocket pass period. On average, you get about 1,500 XP per match. So I did a bit of rough maths, and it ended up to get all 70 items within the rocket pass. You would have to play the game for 93 hours, not including loading times. 93 hours, and the rocket pass runs from, I think it was the beginning of September to the end of November. So yeah, there's about 112 days, something like that, to get all of that stuff. And if you don't get all of it within that time, then it runs out. But
play an hour a day.
But it's okay though. You can pay more. You can pay an extra $7.95 to get an extra 10 levels if you want, and then you would get your 10 items instantly. So,
Oh jeez.
That's very similar to Fortnite's battle pass system.
yes,
That's the
Like,
new
they
thing
pay
now, isn't it? Those battle
£8.
passes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like I play Fortnite like 2-3 hours a night. When the season first come out, I was playing it quite a lot, and it's like a couple of days ago. It's on week 10 now, which is the last week. I've only just got the top tier thing, the top cosmetic item, and I've just finished it. And all of my mates are still a little bit behind, and they're like having to play a lot.
But
Try
then
and get those.
I'm guessing you can pay like an extra fee to unlock all the items. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all these people who it gets to week 10 and they haven't unlocked everything yet, and they're not going to be able to do it. That's when the money starts coming in, so they can unlock it before it runs out.
Man, I just pay the money instantly. If I care enough to pay $7 for the pass, I care enough to pay another $7 to not have to work for it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I think like to pay your way to the top, it's like 100 and something quid.
Oh, okay, never
Yeah.
mind.
It's not ridiculous.
Maybe I'm
What's
just
your
playing
like
the game.
Rocket League or
20
something.
Each tier is 100. Each tier is 150 V-bucks, the in-game currency, and then you get some V-bucks like in the
Can
battle
we
pass
stop
itself.
with in-game currency, please? Can we just
Well,
stop?
yeah,
That's not
We
going to
need
happen.
to stop.
and towards the end of the
I
season,
don't want your BioWare points. I don't want your V-bucks. I don't want your gold bars. I don't want anything. I just want it to be money. All right, 'cause that's what it is.
and then towards the end of the season, they'll put out like 900 V-bucks for 10 tiers. So they'll give you a discount on 10 tiers, just as a quick cash grab. So yeah, they do have a little bit of a predatory mindset, but it's not entirely malicious because again, it's all cosmetic stuff that you want anyway. So
Yeah.
But Fortnite was free to play battle royale anyway. It was free to play.
Yeah, that's true. That's a big difference.
Rocket League wasn't.
No.
It was free for a bit on PS Plus.
Yeah.
It was a free game
3
on
years
PS
ago.
Plus 3 years ago, but now it's not. So
Yeah, that seems like it. That seems like it is. Like,
and it's not a full price game. It's not a full price game, but you
still.
know.
Like
But
I
that
think
seems like
if-
the way that it's going to go with battle passes. Most games, I bet, are going to introduce those.
The thing is though, because Fortnite's free to play, you don't necessarily get anything like straight off the bat. You have to buy everything. But for example, if a AAA title comes out like GTA or something, and they have a battle pass, GTA is probably a bad example. But if they have a battle pass, they should have cosmetics already there beforehand for you to unlock.
Yeah.
You can't just have nothing and then offer a battle pass. If you're paying like
should-
£60 for a full game,
That's
should have
it,
a game.
yeah.
Stuff already there to choose from.
When you buy a game, you should get a game.
Yeah, you should actually get something for it. I know. It seems
don't
like
know.
they're wanting to make a free-to-play game with no content and have you pay extra for content, but also pay the $60 asking price for the game in the first place.
Well, that's exactly what NBA 2K19's done, isn't it?
Is it?
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
NBA 2K19's absolutely ridiculous. We thought 2K18 was bad, but 2K19's even worse. So
Does it at least have a cringy story mode featuring a character that you can make from scanning your own face? I
yeah,
hope
but
so.
you pay to make the character and make changes to the character and level the character up.
Are you for real?
With in-game currency, which you can also buy.
But then
So-
you do that in GTA. It's not as if you don't. We have
But it's
to pay
okay. It's okay though. Last year's one, you had to pay to change your haircut. You had to pay your in-game currency to change your haircut. You don't have to do that this year. It's just everything else you have to pay
for. Oh,
for.
okay. Well, that's all right.
Everything,
So,
everything has
yeah.
been forgiven.
And also they've made the payout for XP in matches 30% less than last year as well. So just increased the grind just a little bit more for you guys.
Ah, good, good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Never ceases to amaze me. And this is the same game where the developer 2K are asking the people of Belgium to go to their governments and ask them to re-enable loot boxes because
If you love 2K, tell them to give us.
if you want to pay to change all your character and do all that and give us even more money, then go to your local government and tell them.
taking advantage of
I'm
impressionable
emailing
children.
my congressman so I can.
You don't really
Get
love
more
us if you
skins
don't
in
want
Fortnite.
loot boxes.
Basically just saying go and harass them so that they can't be bothered to enforce the law.
Yeah. So, Spider-Man?
Hey, RDT, you've been playing as Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
So what's your
Oh, for those who
opinion
don't know who that was our podcast producer, MB Hammer. I saw one or two comments in the chat saying who's talking now. So I just figured I'd just better give another reintroduction.
on it?
Carry on,
RDT,
RDT.
how's Spider-Man going? You like it?
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, good. We're gonna have differing opinions. Sweet.
Why, you don't like it? Have you not
I
played
like it. I like it, but like I don't understand why everyone is just collectively nutting at the same time over this game. Like
I mean, there's just so much hot white liquid in that game.
It's a good serviceable game, but it's not like perfect by any means. It is a good video game, but it's not like I'm not sitting here like, oh, I gotta play some Spider-Man, I gotta play some Spider-Man, I gotta play some Spider-Man. You know, it's just a good
Dude,
game.
just swinging around the city alone is so satisfying. Now, I wish that the web swinging was a little bit closer to Spider-Man 2 game, but this is fully serviceable and it is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, but it's not like it's
Nuts.
not. It's
in a
it's not
world
a 10
of
out of 10.
NBA 2K's Battlefield or Battlefront, whatever the hell it was before all the outrage, in a world where GTA exists and they're gonna have Buffalo Bucks and Red Dead.
Stop your argument, okay? I do not like the argument of, well, everything else is bad, so you should be okay. Look, just
It's a
because there are
shining
people
light in the
starving
community.
doesn't mean that I'm not still hungry, okay? I could complain if I want to.
The gameplay so far, I'm only like 25% in. The gameplay is
I'm
great.
farther than you, actually.
The combat is fantastic. Well, I work
is
full time.
good.
I have a job, so the combat is great. The web swinging is fantastic. The voice acting is good. The story is fun. There's no microtransactions. It's beautiful, which I mean we said last week. Like it's kind of the standard now, but it is gorgeous. Like there's nothing to dislike about it. Maybe you could be nitpicky and say that it's not the greatest game of all time.
It is a little buggy, too. I have experienced some bugs.
Yeah.
As going
But it's
through.
it's a
that's
video
what
game.
You
maybe-
can't discredit
maybe
the whole
just,
game off a few bugs.
Yeah.
It does look really good. I've not
Well,
played
I'm
it
not
myself.
trying to discredit. I'm just maybe the fervor has gotten to me that people are like game of the year, best game I've ever played. Oh my god, Peter Parker. Like maybe
People's
that's
hype about it has diminished your excitement.
Well, I was never excited in the first place. It's just it's a perfectly serviceable, good game that is recommended, but it's not like we don't need to sit and jerk the game off on Reddit all day. Like, calm down. It's not that great.
How else you gonna get the white liquid out of your wrists? Come on.
It does
Pretty
seem
much.
like the general impression that, I mean, I haven't played it either, but the general
But
impression that's
people
being
are like
around
out
is
there
just so
telling
good.
people that like you've got to buy a PlayStation 4 for this.
I did.
You
I
have.
did.
But how are you feeling about that decision?
It was 100% perfect. It's great. I have
It's
no
a
regrets.
$500
at all.
There you
game
go.
for you.
No, what? A $500 game. I brought my old Xbox One, traded it in, bought a $200 used PlayStation 4.
Oh, you're not even on Xbox anymore. I thought you kept your Xbox.
No, I have an Xbox One X.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
I got them both, baby. I'm,
Did you
like
get-
I
did
said,
you
I've
get
got a
the,
full-time job.
Oh yeah, you have income. You go to a job and then every week or 2 weeks or monthly you get more money on a recurring basis. I don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
Did you get the special edition PS4 with the Spider-Man?
No, I just literally told you I got a used PS4, just a regular one.
I'm not listening to you. Come on, nobody listens to you on this
Well,
show.
it just proves though that it's a console seller.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. But the thing
I
is,
mean-
that's what these, like, something that you always need to keep in mind with these games is, especially God of War, Spider-Man. Everyone hails them as being just great single player experiences. We don't have to deal with loot boxes or anything like that. But they're made in a completely different way. They're not made to. They can be made to make a loss as a game. They can be put all the development money in, and if the game doesn't sell enough on its own to make that money back, that's okay, because Sony are banking on it being a system seller, because that's where they'll make their money. So you can't really hold like exclusives like God of War or Spider-Man to the same standards as third-party games that aren't getting that kind of income from the
They
platform.
have to
holder as
over
well.
monetize and lock
Yeah.
the.
I mean, no, don't get me
Content
wrong,
behind
and it's
it.
not an excuse for the ridiculous monetization that most games do, but
Yeah.
there's a happy balance there, but you can't really compare them also to then the system seller type games, the exclusives.
Yeah, I already bought like all of the PS4 exclusives that I wanted, like that I'm going to eventually play, maybe stream. I don't know. I never stream. I got Bloodborne, Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War 4. I've got the old GTAs like GTA 3 and Vice City and San Andreas. Because you can't play those on Xbox for some reason because this game is trash. And Spider-Man, like I've got them all lined up, ready to go.
Yeah. Well, anyway, my thoughts for Spider-Man. It's a solid 8 out of 10 game. Like 8.5 out of 10 game. It's a good example of a video game, but it is not like the best.
8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
It's
I agree with Nos. I would give it that. I really enjoy it. I really.
Yeah,
it's a great game.
that's really good. Like that's
Well,
almost
I'm just saying
nutworthy.
that just the fervor, the overwhelming fervor that has just come onto me from all sides of the internet is too
But
much.
when all other games that are coming out are like 7s and 6s and loaded with microtransactions and everyone's sick of them, surely you can understand that when an actual proper game comes out, there will be an extra level of
Well, I mean,
intrigue and interest in it.
Spider-Man is just how video games should be. That's supposed to be. That's what you should expect.
That is
good
true,
video
but-
game.
Spider-Man's the baseline.
Yeah.
It seems like everyone's really disappointed by most games that come out nowadays.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Like,
Yeah.
it feels very rare that games like as well made as like Spider-Man, for example. They seem
Yeah.
like rare gems.
Yeah.
Which is what.
Sorry, I
they
didn't mean to
should
cut you off.
be
Yeah. Nas, would your 10 be Red Dead Redemption?
Yeah, probably in retrospect, I'd
I'd give it a solid 8.5.
Yeah.
say, well, there's differing opinions. Oh my goodness, we can't do that. But I don't know, because but Red Dead Redemption was a story and a setting that I could get invested in. Spider-Man is not. I don't even like Spider-Man, honestly. I think Spider-Man's pretty lame. I'm gonna be honest. I think Spider-Man's lame.
Oh, here we go.
Okay?
Let's not get started on the whole superhero
I'm
versus
sick of his
superhero
quips. Okay,
discussion.
stop. Look, you don't have to sarcastically quip to everything, Spider-Man. Okay?
Web's a
for
guy.
one-
Hang in there, buddy.
Yeah.
For once,
So
I
He
agree
just
with
high
Nos.
fives himself.
The clips just calm down.
It's
now.
overbearing. It passes the point of being funny to overbearing, and Spider-Man doesn't have like the social like level that like say Tony Stark does for it to be okay for him to make these quips. Like Tony Stark makes these quips. He's got so much money, he can do what he wants. Peter Parker.
This is everybody that knows the source material going, what are you talking about?
Well, look, from the little bit that I know in the setting of this game is what I'm saying. Just stop.
Good God, what are you talking about? Do you even know Spider-Man? Is all you know Tobey Maguire
Probably,
and Andrew
yes,
Garfield?
Yes.
I hate you, Nas!
I feel like this is going to be
Spider-Man.
this could be another episode of the podcast entirely. Superhero argument.
Anyway, we can move on to a new topic.
The new topic that's listed on the sheet, the document, is Nos owns a potato.
Yes, I own an inferior gaming system now with the PS4. I want to talk about that.
What do you before you do GTAWiseGuy? What do you play on primarily?
Oh yeah, we haven't.
The Xbox One, but I'm noticing how shite it is and unsupported it is by a lot of developers. Xbox One X, I really want one because I'm sure it'll be good. But for example, if I'm playing Fortnite, it's so bad. Like it's just either it's unoptimized by Epic, or the console's just really bad.
Dude, you think that's bad? Why don't you go play some PUBG on your old Xbox there? Tell me how that runs.
So have you not sort of gone for the whole PC gaming route?
I do have a PC which is set up for gaming, but I just don't particularly enjoy it. Mostly for like, I suppose GTA is fine, but like especially shooters, I don't like using mouse and keyboard and stuff. You have an advantage.
I also prefer turning very slowly and having a auto.
Nice. Play nice.
You're the worst host ever.
But, yeah, I mainly play on Xbox One, but even on GTA, it's really bad. Like it's sometimes, say if you have a car meet of like 30 people or with like lowriders or something, you'll be on like 10 FPS.
Oh yeah, we know the difficulty of that.
Yeah.
You know me, like bouncing between 20 and 30 is pretty bad. But I do play Xbox a lot, mainly because a lot of my mates are on there. So.
Yeah, that's what
it says something to like how far I guess PC gaming has become mainstream, and like looking at a game's performance has become more mainstream, that we can sit here and objectively say the Xbox One is bad because it runs at an inferior frame rate. Because I don't feel like with the 360 and the PS3 people really had that kind of conversation. You know,
that wasn't a conversation.
I like Xbox. I like PS3. You're wrong. No, you're wrong. Now we can actually sit down and, you know, look at the facts and say, this game runs at a lower frame rate and a lower resolution on this system. Therefore, this game is inferior on this system. And people actually care now, as opposed to, you know, back in the
you can notice
generation.
The big difference is like, because they've got like two different generations of consoles running at the same time, pretty much. You've got the Xbox One, the Xbox One X, and you've got the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. Like, I've seen like videos where you can just see how good the Xbox One X is compared to the normal Xbox One.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be like GTA doesn't support Xbox 360 anymore because it's just double the work for the developers. And I feel like it's probably a bit too broad, but too big of a difference. But the Xbox One running alongside the Xbox 360, it just doesn't make sense, which I see as a big problem now with the One and the One X and the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. I think it's a bit stupid that they're running them both at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is a little weird, and I mean, you know, like I don't know why anyone would buy just a PS4 or just an Xbox One with the higher tier versions out. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
I know from speaking to developers as well, like if they had a choice, they would only release their games on PC because it's just so much better. You've got a lot more freedom of like how you want your game to look and how it's going to perform. Like I'm sure like the console, like Microsoft will say to certain devs, don't let the players change the settings on the games because obviously if you put
it has to look as good as possible.
It has to look good.
Yeah.
And sacrificing performance. Because if you put your settings lower on an Xbox and then someone's on PS4 and it's running fine on higher settings and people see that difference, they're obviously going to go and buy a PS4. So,
yeah. And
but it's
you know,
getting a little bit better on console now with
It is.
the
There
new
are
tiers.
some games.
There's some options on some games that are like you can have 30 FPS, bells and whistles, all the amazing light effects and whatnot that the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X can master, or you can have it at 1080p 60. You know.
yeah, and I wish
for some-
Spider-Man had that feature too.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a real shame that I have to play Spider-Man at 30 FPS. It detracts from the game experience for me. Yeah.
Some
How have
games
you
are
been
just-
taking it? How have you been feeling with your PS4, console?
Oh, I don't like it. I mean, it is an inferior system to what I have in every way, pretty much. And I have to have it because of exclusives. I don't like the UI. I don't like that there are no options. I don't like using a controller for shooters. I don't like it, but yeah.
The UI did take some time to get used to for me. It just wasn't.
I don't
Wasn't
like
too
the
rough.
UI on Xbox or PS4. Honestly, I think they're both.
Yeah,
trash.
they both seem awful.
Yeah.
So
The best
I mean,
UI I thought is still the 360.
yeah, but
It
that
was-
doesn't. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily just because I don't like it doesn't mean that the PS4 Pro is bad. It does exactly what it needs to do, and for someone who's just interested in, they just play video games as a hobby, it's a great system. Because they don't, you don't care what's the frame rate. I don't know what frame rate is. What resolution? I think I have a 4K TV. I'm not sure. It's a perfectly serviceable game machine, and it has, in my opinion, the best exclusives. But considering I come from somewhere that is superior
think
in
in
just about
everyone's
every way,
opinion.
yeah,
Xbox has no exclusives.
yeah,
Okay.
Xbox is
Sea of
exclusive.
Thieves.
A pirate's life for me, bro.
That's like, it's a really well-made game, but it's just lacking so much content.
Yeah,
as most games seem to be these days.
Yeah,
I have fun with it when you have other people. You can't play it by yourself, though.
yeah, it's boring.
I find.
So, I don't know how many weeks ago now it was. It was maybe a few months ago. We had Jan2295 on our podcast, the notorious
Leaky boy.
leaker of information from GTA Rockstar officers, and we had him on. We spoke about many things. We got an insight into how he gets his leaks and his information and stuff, and it was a really good podcast. I recommend going and watching it. Find it in the playlist, or I don't know, wherever you're listening to this to, if you're on Spotify or iTunes or whatever. If anyone's watching this and wants to get it on Spotify or iTunes, it is available. But he said at one point that he's always said that if Rockstar ever contacted him and asked him to stop leaking information, he would respect that decision and he would do it. He told us that on the podcast. And then maybe a week ago, maybe less than a week ago, I don't know, time's melding into one for me now. But
What is time?
what
really?
is time? I have no idea.
Flat
It's all
circle.
just one stream to the next. To forget days. He
Everything that has
tweeted
happened
out.
will happen again.
He tweeted out and said that Take-Two had contacted him and asked him to stop leaking information about Rockstar, and he's gonna, he accepted that, and he's not gonna leak anymore.
Wow.
So that's it. No more leaks from Jan.
Hopefully that wasn't us.
Well, time to unfollow him on Twitter.
Well, supposedly, that the person the lady he spoke to was very nice, very kind about it, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's it. They did finally decided that for whatever reason now was the time that they didn't want him leaking anything, and they actually went out their way to contact him about it, and that's it.
So I presume they'll take legal action if he does decide to. Then
I don't know. I mean, I get maybe this was just an initial conversation, and he said, "Okay, I won't do it anymore," and that's
Just
it, and that no
disgust
more
me
needs
how
to be
honest
said.
he
But
is. What just ugh.
That's a damn shame because he's the one guy that isn't malicious about it or tries to undercut Rockstar. And there's still going to be people that put out leaks that
Yeah.
don't care as much. That aren't as
I mean,
courteous.
Fun MW2 is pretty
Courteous.
good with that kind of stuff as well. He does it, in a decent way, but he always felt like Jan would have someone in a bit more of contact or something like that he would.
Well, we already
get a bit
discussed
more
that he
info.
knows the janitor.
He knows the
Yeah, I was
janitor.
just
That's
gonna say
it. Yes.
he's not going to be cleaning the offices anymore. That's
Yeah.
a shame.
But I can't understand that because there must still be people who are going to leak information, like Fun and Do You Too, for example, or a Rockstar gonna go more hardcore on it. They've asked Jan to stop and he stopped, but if other people don't stop, are they gonna start taking legal action against people or whatever? I don't know. It's
I'm sure they'll send people in to at least threaten, hire some PIs and bust down some doors. So they already did that a couple times. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost feels like though that Rockstar want some stuff leaked, like
that's what was I
like
thought.
the new cars that are like due to come out. They're all put in the game well early, well ahead of time, and they're quite easy to get to.
I don't know if that's necessarily because they want them leaked. I think that's more because they don't want to push multiple updates to console.
Yeah, I know that they have to they're probably charged by Steam and Microsoft and stuff for multiple
Steam,
updates.
it doesn't charge you anything to update games, as far as I know.
Okay.
On PC, but on console, I believe it does.
Yeah.
So. And plus, it's easier to just change a tunable on the server or whatever, and bam, here's your car. Than push another update.
I think it's really unusual. Unusual is probably not the right word, but it's strange that Rockstar are going after the people that are leaking, that are giving the information out to the public. What's happening to their staff? Get a hold of your staff, Rockstar.
Yeah,
they're the people leaking the information. Not, I mean, the fact that
if the president of the United States can't get that,
But
it's
I mean,
not his fault that he's getting this information. You know, he's not under NDA. It's your staff that are under NDA.
True.
But
that's why I was always under the impression that maybe it was someone at Rockstar as part of the community team who were, leaking that information themselves to build up hype for the next DLC.
Well, that's why it's probably going to be interesting to see if it's just Jan that's getting this treatment.
Yeah.
Or if it's going to be
other.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be. They want to shape the message that's going out to the public. Yeah. So do they do that just by cutting Jan out and just going to, I don't know, Mr. Boss, for example, and just being like, hey, I'm a janitor at Rockstar. Do you want to know the latest information?
I was walking by a computer monitor the other day, and I saw this new car. But I'm not a car guy. I don't know really what it looked like, but...
What was do you remember that guy who was leaking on? I think it was like some weird. I think it was like 4chan or something.
No, yeah, it was 4chan. Some weird site, some weird.
Yeah, he said there was an
site.
R34 coming, R34 Skyline. Turns out it was an R32. So
yeah, I remember those leaks.
Narrow it down that way. It's not one of the vehicle artists.
Wasn't it gun running that was all leaked in that way before?
Yeah, I think so.
So we'll move on if there's no other gaming news that anyone has. No? Okay. We'll move on to a bit of last episode follow-up. Has anybody got any comments that you picked out from the last episode? I am sure I read a few. There were a lot of comments on the last episode for obvious reasons.
Yeah. And they were all just... all of them were just a competition between who could mess up Mr. Boss for the win's name the funniest. Mr. Toss for the loss. No one's thought of that before.
There were some quite... There was one or two very negative comments towards myself. But beyond that, the vast majority were positive. So I appreciate everyone for the support for that. And the support in general over what happened this time last week. And all the support on the tweets and stuff like that, and the likes on the comment on his video. I appreciate all that.
There were also some requests to have Raggedy Dan on, even though we've already had that. Man.
Yeah.
No, we're not happy. We're good.
I hate to be rude, but do you mind if I take a toilet break?
Yeah, go for it.
To do it.
I leave all the time without even saying anything.
So Phil's actually picked out one comment that he thought was particularly good, apart from the homework that he did. So his comment was from Valle Paul, Vallepaule, Valle Paule, whatever. I'm the butcher this time. He says, "Sick, like actually down with the cold." And yes, sugar-free Nos, I'm your guy in the comment section. I remember them coffee breaks. Can't find an equal racing game to GT4. And Red Dead Redemption 2 multiplayer with GTA Men, Bruffy, RDT, and Sugar Free Nos would be awesome. I'd watch the shit out of that.
Well, you better get ready.
here's
It'll
the one.
happen.
Here's the one that I liked. It was from someone who's obviously a very successful adult who has been through many different trials and tribulations in his life. I responded to this one personally, but he goes, "It's obvious. It's obvious you're very naive about many things, but welcome to the big bad world. By the time GTA 6 comes out, there'll be another YouTube doing what you do, better than you. Don't make the mistake of thinking the kids that follow you will be following in 4 or 5 years' time when GTA 6 comes out. They'll have grown up by then. Make the most of it while you can. You're a one-game, one-trick pony dude with delusions of grandeur." So, and I was just like,
Bruffy, not ready for the hard truths, indeed.
yeah, you're not ready. And so I was like, you're a no trick, no audience, nobody. Go back. Your lunch break's over. Go flip some burgers, chop chop. And he's
Yeah.
like, I'm not deluded, Sonny. I'm like, all right, Grandpa, who are you? What is going on?
Yeah, that was. I saw your response to that. It perked me up because I saw that comment.
I felt bad
and,
because
like,
that's
It was a particularly scathing comment, and I don't necessarily get those very often. And most of 99.9% of the time, those kind of comments I just don't even look at.
Oh,
But
I
that
love
was
them. They're hilarious.
that was during the moment where I was having this downward feeling about everything that I was doing, and I wasn't feeling very good. I'm getting back to it now, and I'm pretty happy, but. That was like right in the center of that moment where it was all crumbling around me, and I read that and I was like, oh my god, he's right. I am useless. I need to go find a job. I need to just leave it all. I'm useless. I'm a one-trick pony. Delusions of grandeur. Who do I think I am? That's it. What's the point? And then I saw your response and I was like, yeah.
He's nobody. Who does he think he is talking to anybody else?
But then
commenter, obviously, he is very important.
I mean, it
you
was
have
ju-
over
it was
1,000 Twitch
it
subs,
was literally just because I was in a particularly bad place at that point. But then I just laugh it off. I mean, like I do with most comments that are ever like that. But yeah, that was an interesting one. I thought you might bring that one up.
I'm gonna.
What did I miss?
We're just going over the comments.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one of my favorites. I live near Mr. Boss, and every time I see his McLaren, I want to rip the plate off his car. I'm not lying. He lives in Georgia, and he goes to Chick-fil-A on a Thursday.
I saw that one. I saw that comment as well. Mr. Boss has a
I'm not
McLaren.
lying.
It's so good.
Does he actually have a McLaren?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty. Someone in the comments of like in the stream chat said he clickbaited that too, and he actually doesn't own a McLaren, but I'm not sure.
I know they have a Lexus or something at one point, like a quite
Who
expensive
knows?
one.
Oh man, that was
Oh, but
just
that-
the
just-
comments. There really were a lot of supportive
Just the
comments
fact
on the
that
last
he added
episode,
in that
but
he goes to Chick-fil-A.
I know.
on Thursdays.
there were some great comments on the last episode. It was,
Oh,
I mean, it was
man,
inevitable.
Nitro 36, my man, you are a great comedian. That's hilarious. I'm
man.
not lying. I'm not lying. I live in Georgia.
And that's his evidence. Is
Yeah, he goes to Chick-fil-A on a Friday.
Thursday.
Thursday, sorry, not Friday.
Fridays back.
Could never
Yeah,
go to
it's
Thursday.
Obviously, he is.
No, Mr. Boss for the win's important enough that he goes to Chick-fil-A on a Sunday. That's Chick-fil-A.
Do you think he goes, stands in line, and then just like the person in front of him orders, and he goes, "I'll just take what he had." Do you think he does that?
I'll have whatever he had. Oh, man.
So,
Wait, before we just do that, we need to follow up on the actual outcome of the ridiculousness that happened last week. For those who didn't see, I did upload a sort of response. He apologized on Twitter. He took down the video, the offending video, and I reacted to it on stream at the time when that happened. So if you haven't seen that, it's on my second channel as part of the podcast highlights playlist, really, because I just thought that was the best place for it as a follow-up to episode 35. It's basically just, this same kind of apology that you get from big businesses when they do something bad and they put their hand in the cookie jar and get caught. It's like, oh, sorry, I won't do it again. I'm sorry, and then they'll do it again.
We understand. We understand your interpretation of content theft.
Yeah. We're sorry. We won't do it. We won't do it again. We promise. Forgive us. And then he gets praise for.
Wow, man, you're a stand-up guy, dude. You did something wrong and then you apologize for it. Nobody's ever done that before. How about not doing stuff wrong? How about you just don't do wrong things? How about you? I mean, stop.
It was not my intention to offend.
All right, go on then, MB Hammer.
Okay, so 322 comments in total.
That was a lot of comments. That must be our most commented on episode.
Yeah, possibly the max between episodes.
Both of which were about the same man.
We asked our viewers if they got to the end of the podcast to say the word "sick" in their comments, because Bruff was just sick of it.
I was sick of life.
He was just sick of it. So, out of 322 comments, how many do you think said the word "sick"?
NASA's going first.
48 and a half.
Okay.
Someone
How
just
many?
wrote SI. 48. I'm going
48.
low. Because I just saw, I mean, now if you would have asked me who tried to make a joke messing up Mr. Boss for the Win's name, I would have said like 250.
322.
For 48. Because nobody will actually watch the last episode. They just get Mr. Boss for the win. Mr. Toss for the loss is so bad. You know, and then they left. They didn't actually watch it.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm also gonna go lower. Not as low. I'm gonna go 53.
I'm going to go even lower. I'm going to say 39 because I agree. I think from what I was looking when I read all comments, but it seemed like most of them were, comments talking about what we were talking about, but didn't include the word sick, as if
Mr. Loser
they've watched
all the time. We
I think the majority of people
file a copyright claim on Mr. Toss for the loss.
Mrs. Loss.
I think most people will have watched the bit where we talked about the issues and then not watched to the end where we say the word. So
Yeah.
do you want to put in a guess, GTAWiseGuy?
Almost like to make her
I'll say 6, 7, 8.
Okay. All right.
All right. So, do you want number of occurrences of the word or comments? Actual comments first. Okay.
Yeah, comments.
Comments 33.
Oh, I won for once.
All high. Wow.
I was right. It was only 6
Oh, wait.
off.
That's me.
33.
No, we're all high. We all lose.
No,
We gotta
that's not
roll
how
in.
it works. It's who's
Yes,
the
that's-
closest.
No, it's no. Have you ever seen The Price is Right?
We aren't
Jesus.
playing The
on.
Price is Right. We have this argument every time.
Yes, we are.
We are not playing
Yes,
The Price
we
is
are.
Right. It's whoever's
It's Price is
closest.
Right rules.
Oh my
No,
No.
it's
We all
whoever's
lose.
closest without going over.
I'm so
Children,
frustrated.
Please, children, calm down. But
I just said it's me because it's 33 and already 233.
Okay.
And that's,
43 occurrences of the word sick spread across 33 comments. So
Okay.
thank you once again, Phil Hoff, for doing your homework. You are a legend.
I like the comments that say "Hi Phil," It's like- and we'll tell you the words to say at the end of this episode for the comments. Right. So, community questions. Do we have any? This is being a long podcast.
Yeah, we've been killing it.
All right, it's been amazing.
Putting everyone to sleep talking about LODs.
I've enjoyed.
Super interesting. Right, we've got Mr. Mega Mario 64. He has a question for Robin, I believe.
Hello, caller. You're on the Choking Hazard podcast, the show where we look good no matter how far away you are. Who's your question for, and what is your question?
Gosh, that's very subjective. I mean, okay. Anyway. So yeah, my question is for you, Robin. That would be, what's the hardest and easiest thing about making any of your vehicles?
Okay,
That's a
so
question.
probably. I'll start with the hardest thing. The hardest thing is probably trying to make what you want to create without like making it work functionally in game, as in how much detail do you put into it, consciously thinking about how much detail the player is going to see, how much they need to see, and how much can you get away with in terms of where the player's not going to see and how little detail you can put into it, making sure shading's done properly with all the right topology and stuff like that. Just the technical stuff while you're trying to be creative doing while you're modeling stuff.
Do you feel as if like the technical stuff would be limiting your like what you want to put down?
Yeah, my creativity.
Yeah,
sort of
that's
thing.
what I was gonna say. Is
like I could just make like a wide body arch, and I could just like smooth it over, and it might have tons of like it might have a really high try count and look really good, but it's not representative of being industry standard and what Rockstar would do, sort of thing.
Yeah.
The easiest thing is probably picking a car and what I'm going to do to it. I've got too many ideas for stuff to create, but I just don't have the time to create it.
Yeah.
So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. Good question, Mr. Mega Mario.
Thank you, Mario, for the question.
All right. Next up, we've got Mr. C. Balbuena.
Hello, Carl. You're on the Choking Hazard podcast, the show where we go to Chick-fil-A every Thursday.
God damn it. Oh my god. Okay, I heard what you say, Nas. I do like Chick-fil-A too, but I don't care why.
Well, you can only go there on Thursday, so
Better
from
is,
here on out. Anyway, who's your question for? What's your question?
Okay, Robin, you know Black Panther, aka or Theo, that's his real name, right?
Yeah. I know the
Are
guy.
you friends with him? Are you friends with him? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Alright, so whenever Theo posts a tweet and then he says, challenge me against with your RCF, or now he owns a Scotland, like we know it's just like they're doing jokes and fun things, but you see his videos, but comparing from your videos to his videos, like how is it?
Pardon? Say the last bit again.
Like comparing his videos against your videos, like what is the difference between Black Panther and you?
I suppose Theo's more of an entertainer than me. He likes to be stupid and daft in his videos, and it's quite entertaining. But yeah, he's more of an entertainer in terms of just being comedic and stuff like that. I'm more, I would say, educational, if that makes sense. And I talk about more creative and artistic stuff in my videos rather than trying to be funny and stuff like that. Hopefully that answers your question. Does it answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah, but
Okay. Thanks for the question. Appreciate it.
Oh,
Did you say something about his RCF or saying something
I'm not
about
sure
challenging
I get
him?
the question. We've got some
not his
interference on
RCF,
this
nor his
line.
Scott, because I do love those cars. Then
Yeah. I keep challenging him to race his R34. He keeps chickening out.
even with the Evo, with the Evo.
Evo is faster than his R34, so I think they'd confidently win.
Hell yeah.
Just watch
Unless
Drag
you want to
Race
prove me
between
wrong.
you and Theo, Evo versus Skyline.
Yeah, it'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you, C. Balbuena, for the question.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I have a call-in question, actually. Ring, 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 ring. Hey, Robin, what car do you drive? We haven't talked about that the whole show. We'll talk about
An
that
Evo
very
8.
quickly. Does it have the misfiring system from Initial D that was so important by any chance?
I've not seen Initial D, but it does misfire.
Oh,
I've got a little. It was mapped into it, so this was done on a DCU remap. It's like an anti-lag system, so I've got like an intercooler spray button, but when I hold it for like 3 seconds, it will retard the ignition just a little bit, so that it spits flames and stuff like that. So it's still igniting as it comes out the exhaust. keeps the turbo spooled up. And if I rev it up and I let off, it'll just pop and bang all the way down the revs.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
it spits flames as well. So
Excellent. So that's about what it was like on Initial D. So you've satisfied my question. Anyway, that's considering I drive a 1999 Chevrolet Cavalier. That's a pretty cool car. That's a really cool car. So
No, you don't drive a
pretty sweet.
$5,000 Miata hunk of metal.
Hey, yeah, I'll race you in my Miata. I'll fly it over there. But the race is who can get their headlights to pop up the fastest.
All right.
Anyway.
RDT. You disappointed
Oh,
everybody last 2 weeks
I
ago.
disappointed
Sorry.
like 3 people, dude.
You disappointed everybody. We were all disappointed. We all come to
I was very
expect
disappointed.
an apple juice minute, and you let us down.
Well, luckily, you won't feel the same disappointment unless I'm still not funny. Then that is going to be more disappointing. But this week, I actually paid a lot of money to buy 4 cans of apple juice. But apparently, it's a quaffable brew. And it's from a great region of these wonderful, capitalist, free United States. Not one of those commie countries like, England or Scotland or Switzerland. Yeah, or Greece. And it's from a rather new, I guess, brewery. And who knows more about drinking than depressed New Englanders and hobos? And this beer combines both of them. This is a brew by a brewery called Lord Hobo Brewing Company. He's the king of the homeless people, which means he probably has a fine palate.
He sits upon a throne of cardboard boxes under a bridge.
Of these cans of just empty wine bottles and cans of boom sauce in a nice black and gold can, 7.1% alcohol. Let's hear the pop on this baby and just see. Let's look it up. Oh, a little crisp. Smells happy, and happy, and I'm happy to be drinking this and forgetting anything that I'm doing right now because I'm disappointed in my own self and need to drown all my emotions with liquid courage, also known as apple juice. So cheers to the homeless, cheers to the depressed New Englanders that are up there probably already treading through the snow and hating life. Lord Hobo Boom Sauce. Go get yourself a couple cans for $15.
Wow. Holy cow.
The apple juice minute returns with the Lord of the Hobos. Is it really called that? That is an interesting name for some apple juice.
Yeah, Boom Sauce by Lord Hobo Brewing Company.
What is the boom? When's the boom? Like, when is the boom? Is the
Did
boom
you not hear me open it? Did you not hear that roaring boom?
Oh,
That's the boom. Of
I
I think the
course.
boom comes when you drink 4 of them and your head clatters off the pavement. That's when...
Yeah, I suppose so.
Nothing will ever beat Dan Cush 420. I mean, yeah, that was a pretty special one to be.
Oh yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah. Right. The last thing that we need to do then is the choke of the week.
Choke
Sure,
of the
I'm
week.
So, I've got it loaded
Oh,
up. If
man.
you guys want to get the videos ready so you can watch them.
Watch along.
Again, no saying whose these are,
Yes.
so that we're not going to be show no bias. I've had plenty of chokes the last 2 weeks
Zero
that could have.
bias. I just hope no
been
one
in
has
this, but-
excellently edited their video again so that causes me to
Yeah.
blurt their name out.
Yeah. Right. Is everyone ready?
Fortnite.
You
Yep.
specifically, Nos, since you talk over these.
Sure.
All right. Let's go here and let's start it up now.
Alright, so stunt track, we're in the Pariah very fast, going into a tube here.
Good. Good
Very
description,
descriptive.
Brian.
The big tube, we're in the Pariah. Is this
Thinking
the Pariah?
white?
This is a
You think so?
pariah. Bitrate's
Okay.
gone.
Yeah, bitrate's gone because of the tubes, but don't worry about it. We're alongside,
Who's
we're in
riding
first.
the
Catch up is slowing him down. That's not good, so catch up is on in this this must be a premium race. or whatever those things are called.
No, ketchup isn't on in premium.
No,
is
ketchup's
it?
off on this.
Oh, is it not?
Oh, it takes a cheeky little
Oh.
shortcut underneath the
Look
track.
at this line under the track. Oh, and then oh, is he gonna quit?
Anyone that really
Oh.
knows this track will see what I did here. That is the line that you take on the final lap to get to the finish line quicker. And he wasn't on the final lap.
Wow, that's pretty
Ooh.
funny. Okay, Nero Custom here. We're on track in Grapeseed.
This is
Leading
red,
since the
black, and
first
green,
lap
isn't
with
it?
no issues. Final lap. Here, we're coming in the final lap.
Oh,
Nope, speed up.
Speed's much quicker.
I like the audio for this. It's pretty good.
Watching some Formula One.
Is it Benny Hill? Is it? Remember that's how we did that.
Internal screaming
no.
intensifies.
He's flipped it. He's down
Oh,
into
dear.
second. He's still got a chance, though. He's not that far away. Oh, we're going to speed the clip up
Yeah.
again.
Is this wheel button?
Oh, no, there's the tree.
Oh, that tree. I've had collisions with that tree. Now we're down into third. First place, even farther away now.
Leading since the first lap, of course.
And that's pretty
Crosses the
rough.
line
so
in
the
third
last
place.
lap, he chokes.
He
it
just
pretty good.
If
chokes.
that was me, I'd
Yes.
literally start gripping my controller harder and harder.
Yeah, the anger showing. All right, this is a
Right.
what? What is this?
Ooh, we're on some kind of crazy stunt, like proper stunt track. Look at that roll and flip. I'm very impressed.
This is some real stunting. This.
Is this one of those you just hold the trigger and just go kind of tracks?
It doesn't look like it.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Second.
this. I want to try this because I'll probably fail immensely.
Yes.
Look at these proper stunts going
Ooh.
on from our.
Damn! Look at this.
I know. It's very impressive. I can't even have words to describe the flips.
Yeah, no, it's just a roller coaster of emotion and car and twisted metal.
So
He's in first,
he's
apparently.
in first. He's gotten into the lead from all that skill shown in the clips, in the flips.
Yeah,
even.
now he's on just regular ass road. No.
So was all
not
that flipping not
crazy.
meant to happen?
It seems like that was part of the.
think so.
Regular, easy to drive road. Nothing could possibly go wrong here.
Oh,
right?
no.
He's asking
Don't
himself
you
in the clip if he
fucking
can
tell
win
me
a race.
Oh, there's the
Oh,
rage,
no.
the rage in the background.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Oh, that's brilliant.
Why didn't someone prop that pole? Come on.
That
Just
the lamppost
simple road.
right at the end.
Wow. That's pretty rough, man.
Finished
That's-
second. On the last
I like
corner.
the added anger from this.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Pretty-
the extra anger
The
made
raw
it better.
emotion
Yeah.
is really pretty good.
Oh, that was some good chokes there for everybody, I've got to say. Good top job on the choking.
Good show.
Those were our top 3 chokes. You guys vote in the chat. The link is there in the chat for you to vote on which one you feel is the best of all the chokes. The worst of all the performances, you could say.
Yo, I used to get hammered on this podcast.
You did?
Well, now you're all grown up.
Dude, I had like, in one episode, one of the first 5, I had like 8 beers while we were doing it.
Oh, jeez. I never noticed that.
It was like an hour. We were
Wow.
done, and I looked over, and I was like, whoa. I need to take a nap.
Is that why you
But-
progressively got more ridiculous until we got to the apple juice minute at the end?
Probably.
That was the key to the apple juice minutes. The fact that you were totally destroyed by the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a job now. Yeah, you're all responsible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we think? Should we be talking about the chokes? Or...
I was just gonna say I tried to find you in Spider-Man. I couldn't find you. I looked around for you. I went to where you work. You weren't there.
Yeah, that I was telling us to Hammer before. They don't have the World Trade Center in the game, so
Oh. Well, that
They have, like,
well, that kind
some
of ruins my
building-
joke because I totally didn't go anywhere and look for you. It was just kind of a joke, but well,
Yeah.
All right, I'm done. I'm done
They
talking.
have something that looks similar, but it's not in the same part of the city, and it's not the same building. So
World Trade Center's nothing compared to the Avenger building, anyway.
yeah.
Right. So how are we doing on the voting?
We have a clear winner.
All right.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Let's get our
Really?
thoughts then before
Wow.
we hear. What do you?
I would
What
say,
do you
Oh,
guys
sorry, go on.
think? Yeah, you can go. You're our guest. You go
Yeah,
first.
you go first.
I was gonna say, choke, like the third one, was a pretty brutal one, but I would say the second one was probably more of the guys. The guy who was driving it, he was choking more,
Yeah.
like throughout the race, on the last lap,
Mm.
and the last guy just choked right at the end. But I don't think it was as bad as the other guy choking multiple times.
Yeah.
The last
Okay.
one.
So you're going for number 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna say number 2.
Okay. I think I'm gonna back that up. I think I like 1, but I like it for different reasons. Not 1, sorry, number 3. I like number 3, but I like it for different reasons. So number 2 to me, after being in the lead all that time, and it was some proper choking in a close race, nose to tail, and then ends up in third. I'll go for number 2 as the proper choke.
Yeah, none of the races for me though. None of the chokes were particularly high stakes. I mean, all the races were like 5 minutes apiece. You know, it's not like now copyright. Oh God, I did it again.
God. Don't,
Well,
you don't have to say anything.
at
You don't
least
have
the
to say
voting
anything.
is over at
Voting's
this
over.
point.
Anyway, if our second choke was like racing for 15 minutes, you know, it would have been different. But it was just 5 minutes.
Yeah, I
so,
guess that's true.
Number 2 is probably the correct one, but I'm going to go with the one that obviously won, which was number 3. So I want to be on the side of the chat for this one because
yeah.
I know it won.
Oh, you do know that for a fact?
Oh, I know that for a fact.
I will also agree with Nas. I think that it's hilarious just that he was doing all these crazy flips and landing and doing all this stuff, and then just a regular turn on the street. He just flipped. He just like spun out. Like that's the biggest choke of all time. You're just doing all these acrobatics in the air, and then you can't drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Hammer, give us the results.
All right, in third place was you guys liked it. It was choke number 2. Some things just aren't meant to be by Major Copyright.
Third.
Yeah,
Wow,
in third place. So our winner of choke of the week was choke number 3. Nice stunts. Fundamentals need
Wow.
work though. Congratulations.
Oh yeah.
Hitman 3315.
Hitman.
He's not happy. He's not satisfied.
No.
I'm very. Wait, are you ready? I am pleased. Good job, Hitman. You are terrible. You ruined yourself on the
What about
final corner on
second?
the final lap of a race. And
Who got second?
Yeah,
Who was in second? Who they get a shout out at least?
Yeah.
It was Bloody Squirrels was the
Bloody
had an
Squirrels.
interesting interaction with a pipe.
a regular. He's a choke of the week regular. That guy.
yeah.
He is. It's amazing that he wins any races.
Well done, Hitman. Good job. Top job.
Terrible job, actually.
Yeah, actually, terrible job. But
One idiot.
right. Well, this has been a very long podcast in comparison to what we've had recently, and a very interesting one. Thank you for coming on, GTAWiseGuy. We've learned a lot. I've enjoyed.
Thanks.
It's been a very intriguing conversation. Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate it.
And everyone go subscribe. All of it is various links and whatever will be in the chat and in the description of the video.
He hasn't posted in a while. He's waiting for that algorithm,
Yeah.
but when he
coming
posts,
back.
Yeah,
You
when he
better
posts,
ready.
so it'll be a big one.
I'm finishing up the
Return.
Vapid Ellie now. So
Yeah. It won't be too long.
I'm starting to import it now, so it'll be probably within the next week.
All right, there you go. Next week, it's coming. We picked the right time.
that perfect time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The word for the comments for the next episode. What about LODs?
I figured that would be it.
Yeah. Capital
I don't know if
LOD
people can
and
fit
then a
that in.
small s. I want to count. This is going to be more work for Phil Hoff. I'm sorry. I want to count of how many people actually get it, like with the capital LOD and then a small s, or how many people actually just put whatever.
I guess that's better than my suggestion of Thursday. That was,
yeah.
that was gonna be my suggestion.
Yeah. LODs. Right.
I think if the Vanilla Works guys get wind of what I've been saying, they'll have a lot to say about it.
Well, the good thing about hosting a podcast like this is we can have some kind of distance from it.
Yeah.
It's not us saying any of this.
They ask me, I'm like, I didn't even know the guy. Okay, I didn't know he was on the podcast. I just show up and he was there.
Yeah, but respect to those guys, they are talented guys.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
everybody in that whole space is pretty talented, I think. So,
As are you, GTAWiseGuy. Thank you for joining us on this little pokey little show.
Chick-fil-A's, yeah.
Yeah, I thought for a long time, Bruffy, that you didn't like me.
Oh no, really? Well, because I didn't
um,
invite you to the podcast.
No, it's
No?
not that. It's just I think on quite a few occasions I've like tried to contact you. I've like either left comments or I've tweeted you or something, and you've just not responded.
He
Must be the
does.
guy that does not like
Listen,
me.
that's par for the course. He never answers my stuff either.
yeah, that's nothing personal to anyone. I just don't answer anything anymore.
Fair enough.
So sorry.
No worries.
Feel bad now.
That's okay.
And on that bombshell, we shall end the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Free
Mark.
political prisoner Lieutenant Banter. He did nothing wrong.
Thank you guys. The political prisoner. Oh man.
End the show. Just end it.
Do you want to say goodbye, guys?
Goodbye.
Said my piece.
Thanks for watching, everybody. See you all later.